una kabo, una kushe, we don't come again with another edition of Social Media Review. My name is Fadima, and today, the 27th of September, 2020, and I get with me, my co-host today is none other than lawyer Salone. Lawyer Salone is a practicing defense attorney. We don't practice America for over 40 years. He don't practice law. He's a licensed legal attorney in America. And he there with me for lending voice as usual. Always, you know, it can make sense for trying for bring balance and bring people into the middle and try for make sense of waiting they go on now with country. And as usual, we say, we tell God thank you for life. We tell God thank you for all good things. We tell God thank you for the bad, the good. We still get for say thank you because we don't get nothing for do, but we accept and so. And we also still, they send with condolences to we founder, when I've been the former CEO, Mr. Kagbo, to a family, for a mama we die, and all the other one there where they mourn the people them, let God sorry for them, let God comfort them, let God forgive the one that we don't go before, may their souls rest in peace, and let God forgive all their sin them. And today we get beaucoup for talk about, but we will touch on small, but the main topic today will be the white paper where for the 1 year now, all man be the long anticipated white paper don't come out, and the president don't tell una what he they do, how they get for go about them, and then we hear the opposition APC don't put them press statements today, waiting then say feel but this white paper out and they go about doing it. We also go talk small thing again, but we see the assembly at the United Nations don't begin the General Assembly, and we see the Vice President go there, they go talk, we go rub much small padandi. What we don't come out that side, they don't, we go talk on thing the way they happen at Salone. You know, the American Embassy don't lock into much but we say non-immigrant visa and visiting visa. They want to win a visitor, they want to win an immigrant visa. They don't hold down there, they don't put a stop to and they don't lock the much per week because what you do, we get people them na Sierra Leone, where they na America, where then claim say na Salone passports then get. We don't see them, they say they for deport them because they don't do thing the way they don't broke the law in America. America say they don't want the inside. So Salone say, well, we get for verify them, so we're not going to just take them. We'll go up much for that thing. The small, we are the ambassador, Mrs. Maria Briwa, where instead they talk, waiting their own government don't make for do. And then come out there, we they go for this corruption at Salone, waiting corruption they do. We will up much small, but thing they will see happen on social media this week where because of corruption, then thing and they we not see like that. For example, that motokawe for Doba, we don't see no emergency vehicle, no help, no nothing come for can help for save the lives because all none are due to corruption. And then, like I say, we go up much by the big fish where they all week where they make noise from Thursday where President Biodom release the noise loud, the noise big, Sierra Leoneans, some then on one side say, oh now which one? Some say they pick some, they not pick some. We are different, all man say, you know, but as Sierra Leoneans, we all as Sierra Leoneans for say yes, corruption not a thing, now thing where we all for together as a nation fight for let we go able get goods and services we therefore better we and we people them na the country. So Mr. Salone sir, I want let you tell the people they are do, then we go begin with the first coronavirus update, sir.
Well, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you may be. So I'll join Ms. Fadima for just bringing some discussions as we normally do or usually do on weekends, on Sundays, for just hope that some of us go be up and get a little bit of time for spare for calling and just suggest certain things, ideas that we want to get. So I hope again, as usual, at the end of with discussions, exchanges, that we all go learn something new from each other we will not be know before the program starts. So my name is Mr. Salone. I did at the USA, state of North Carolina. That's where I'm coming from. I hope I enjoy the show. Thanks.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Are we on right now? Are we on live? I don't see the notification yet, but yeah, I guess we're there on live. We're there with social media review. I don't see the live notification yet, but yeah. So una share with una friends them, una share with una group them, una share, then we can join this conversation here where they go on. The coronavirus updates. We see Salone, the coronavirus, the die don't look like say it don't old. For 2 weeks now, 72 people then and they don't die by this coronavirus. And which I go thank you for that day because 72 people now they don't die, even though some people and they say corona not in a free tongue, but 72 people they don't die. Even though we they see with people them, they wear face mask, they try for do social distancing because it act for control social distance na Salone. But still, we they tell una say coronavirus real, coronavirus they kill, so una take precaution, una take the measures they say for take, let we all for able for fight and pull corona, let we life then continue for go before. Because corona don't stop the world, corona don't destroy economy, corona it impact everybody. So you do your own, me do my own, then with the help for make this corona. Because I see people the way they run the government, then they not they wear mask, then they break the rules. So how the small one they go make when the big one they don't put the rule, then self they break the rule. That is the trouble what we get. We all know they follow rules. We go and make rule for them people and they, but we will make the rule. We know want for take, I heed to the rule and do what we're supposed to do. So Mr. Sheila, I don't know because we got 72 deaths as of today. And according to the Minister of Information, and the cumulative people that we don't test positive are 2,215. And this today we get 7 new cases of corona. So people in the test positive for corona, but God they keep will not get that disaster there because I talked to a friend today, as a matter of fact, and he sent me a picture. He go for a wedding. I said, wear a mask. He said, I can wear my mask something, and they say, but why go na some side? Nobody know wear mask. Na me one guy at the shape. Me say, just pull and put on my pocket. I was like, whoa. This is really serious, but with people they know they take on serious, but corona is real. So Mr. Shillon, I don't know, because he tell me he say in Common Eastern the other day, he say from magazine court, reach PZ. He say he decide for, he said because he go inside the mosque for go pray, people are not be wearing masks. So he decide here in the driver, now he say, let we take a survey. He say from magazine court to PZ. He said, no, it's 10 people they wear masks. That crowd, that congestion, coronavirus. But with people, they not believe because nobody know they for don't die it. But do you have me people don't allow they wear? Mr. Shillon, sir, if you get anything for add to the
yes, the problem. Well, that tells you there is not an ongoing public service announcement. So because if then they announce on the radio, reminding people. We understand people then times are hard. People are more concerned about their daily lives and their livelihood. So basically using the street language, people are concerned for hustle. So not to mask and their priority. But again, as I always can say, that's why we get government. Government had a duty for remind the people, sometimes for protect them against themselves. That's what governing is all about. So if we get public service announcement, na SLBS, na SLBS TV, and even ask some of the privately owned TV and radio stations as public service, the government asking them to do that, either free of charge or for some modest amount of money. I think that all of that comes down to responsible governance. So, and the problem we may see also, if people die, Sierra Leone not a country where we keep statistics as much. So the ordinary Joe Blow, when a laborer, when a cab driver, and on and on and on, as long as you don't go through the process of having died and then they encounter as a coronavirus casualty, there will be no statistics of them. And so with government, I don't want to say that they take undue advantage, but they need for step up their responsibility because people are not as informed. So the government need for go out of their way for the announce to people. And it appears as if the governments too should start announcing to even the so-called well-informed or the ones from whom more is expected, because it wasn't, I think it was last week in we broadcast, we see the former presidential candidate for the opposition party, then a birthday party, not having his mask on and nobody else had any mask, dancing. Well, maybe good for reminders people. Maybe they just simply forgot, or maybe they not think, say, people in the watch or in the sea. But we need for remind them, brothers, the one that would plan for whole public office, the one that would in a public office. This is not the age of social media. Things are being seen instantly all around the world, quicker than you may expect. So we get for leave, when I get for conducting ourselves, well, when I would in charge, would tell people and for do things certain ways, the people they need for see when I to do things certain ways. Because when you see more and more and more videos of people in social gathering, no distancing, and they all know a mask, and it's clear to me, there is statistics as to those who are dying of coronavirus in Sierra Leone cannot be as efficient or up to date as we may think because of the example I just gave. If you're a keke driver, if you're a laborer, if you're some unknown person, when you die, you die. I think that's just how it goes. No, there is no indication of you having died, let alone died of what. So I think that happened in Sierra Leone, but I will urge the government to please make it a point of duty until the threat of the virus is over to continue making periodic or intermittent announcements over the radio, television, private and government-owned media for tell people and say they cannot put their guards down. They need to stay on the alert and put them, because now we get a situation where people are beginning to feel embarrassed. The one who know better, you feel embarrassed for put mask on because you look odd. And I can understand that too. So we need not for make people and get so conscious of them trying to comply with the law and then look like they're the misfits. So I would urge the government for do better than they're doing.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you very much. With people and some the shame for wear the mask, just like I said, we get for well because coronavirus is real. Waiting do God the sorry for we first na Africa, but we get for prevent we safe. We no go take and say na lie the government say lie or na lie then they lie corona no day because don't hear that talk they boku dia corona no day if corona been in a salon by now we go see the body the lead all side like I mean the lead on and but anyway. Yeah, let me go to the next topic, please. Let me go to the vice president. We see because of this same coronavirus what they talk of, the world shuts down, everybody day, outside day, everybody sit down, outside sit down. We see United Nations, normally all the countries of the world, they can come together, they can talk on the world issue, waiting they happen, they get the General Assembly. And this year, at the 75th General Assembly, we start this past Friday, we done so. And we yearly, with Vice President, Mr. Dr. Julia Jallo, they give a speech on behalf of Sierra Leone. And he talk on a lot of things. Then he talk on the most thing we talk of now debt relief. He said because coronavirus don't affect the economy of the world, and especially their organization them they get for look for let them write off them then debts them because it will cause hardship at the people of Sierra Leone if then debts then they continue. They also talk say that they continue for work on human rights and they try for work on stuff where not for, not for infringe on the rights of the people, for let people have unity, freedom, and justice for all. We pray it is not just talk. We pray it is just something that they have to do, because every citizen of a country deserves unity, freedom, and justice for Sierra Leoneans, because that's what we coat of arms say: unity, freedom, and justice for all. So I'm not saying some people here, but we can play a few parts of let's just hear the Vice President. Then Mr. Salone, if you get anything for add to that's I will give you the floor. Thank you.
I will now give the floor to distinguished representative of Sierra Leone to introduce an address by the Vice President.
Mr. President, I have the singular honor and privilege to introduce the pre-recorded statement of His Excellency Dr. of Sierra Leone, the Vice President of Sierra Leone, on the occasion of the 75th session of the United Nations General Assembly. Thank you.
Mr. President, Mr. Secretary General, Your Excellency, Heads of State and Government, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I congratulate you, Mr. President, on assumption of the responsibility to steer the work of the 75th session of the General Assembly and assure you of Sierra Leone's full support during your tenure. I commend His Excellency Mr. Tijani Muhammad Bande of Nigeria for his effective and efficient leadership of the 74th United Nations General Assembly session, a period that was very challenging. I commend Secretary General Antonio Guterres for his astute leadership and profound commitment to the work of the organization. In particular, I acknowledge with appreciation his call for a global ceasefire during the current pandemic, the setting up of the COVID-19 Response Fund, advancing the urgent need to address climate change, and implementing the Sustainable Development Goals. Firstly, let me, on behalf of the government and people of Sierra Leone, express heartfelt and deep condolences to all member states of the United Nations for the loss of lives due to COVID-19 pandemic. We salute the selflessness of all frontline responders to this global pandemic. I applaud the adoption by this Assembly and the Security Council of various COVID-19 focused resolutions, as well as initiatives by Secretary General Antonio Guterres aimed at promoting global solidarity and cooperation to fight COVID-19 and address its impact on lives and livelihoods. Sierra Leone therefore supports the call for global solidarity and cooperation for the prevention, curtailment, and treatment of COVID-19. To that effect, I would like to encourage the Secretary General to work with this Assembly and all other stakeholders to expedite the implementation of all COVID-19 related resolutions. I would also like to encourage member states of this August Assembly to share relevant information, scientific knowledge, and best practices about the disease, as well as enhance the equitable and fair access to medicines, vaccines, medical equipment to all nations. Mr. President, given the global health pandemic, the theme for this session, the future we want, the United Nations we need, reaffirming our collective commitment to multilateralism, confronting COVID-19 through effective multilateral action, is therefore appropriate, relevant, and very timely. As a global family, it is only through our collective commitment to multilateralism that we can effectively tackle the COVID-19 pandemic and meaningfully address the prevailing universal challenges of poverty, hunger, disease, natural disasters, climate change, terrorism, human rights violations, cybersecurity, and transnational organized crime. Mr. President, at a time when isolationist sentiment, geopolitical tensions, and economic uncertainties are escalating, the multilateral rule-based system is severely being tested. The United Nations Charter remains the foundation for that multilateral system. International cooperation and global peace and security. It provides the framework for maintaining peace and security, upholding human rights and dignity, promoting sustainable development and international cooperation to enable us tackle emerging challenges. In view of this, Sierra Leone reaffirms its commitment to multilateralism as embodied in the Charter of the United Nations. In this regard, we are committed to promoting international cooperation to address ongoing challenges that confront our world, including our collective engagement in the prevention of conflict, as well as advancing peaceful settlement of conflict and dispute. We must continue to build on the gains made in our preventive diplomacy efforts, continue to heighten collaboration, and draw from experiences that have helped the United Nations to achieve international peace and security over the last 75 years. Mr. President, the COVID-19 pandemic continues to disrupt and destroy lives and livelihoods, and also pose substantive risk to international peace and security. This is especially so in countries that are in conflict or emerging from conflict, those experiencing humanitarian crises, and those with weak and fragile economies, where peace building and post-war state building efforts could be undermined or reversed. This brings me to the current political crisis in Mali and related insurgencies in the Sahel that are of grave concern and to which we should respond urgently by providing unambiguous support to ongoing efforts initiated by the Economic Community of West African States. Mr. President, our collective multilateral aspiration and hope for a safer and more secure world is embodied in our adoption of the 2030 Agenda and its 17 Sustainable Development Goals, the Addis Ababa Action Agenda, and the Paris Climate Change Agreement. As the COVID-19 pandemic makes our timely attainment of the objective of the 2030 Agenda unlikely, it is imperative that we respond collectively to the pandemic in a way that will put nations back on track to accelerate progress towards achieving the SDGs. Reduced economic activity, revenue losses, budget constraints, and the huge cost of managing the pandemic are adversely affecting our efforts to achieve sustainable development, strengthen resilience, and move out of fragility. The implementation of Sierra Leone's medium-term national development plan that is aligned to both the SDGs and the African Union's Agenda 2063 is marred by challenges to generate required domestic revenues to fund projects, including other sundry capacity and management constraints. In this regard, Sierra Leone fully supports current efforts by this organization and international financial institutions and continues to call for an urgent debt relief and standstill mechanism from international financial institutions. Given the magnitude and impact of COVID-19 and other persistent disease burden, we aim to invest in our health and other service delivery systems as part of a robust post-COVID recovery process. We therefore seek additional grants, access to finance and technical assistance from our development partners, and additional budget support to enable the much needed fiscal space. But beyond short-term quick fix and exit strategies that characterize the broader response to the pandemic, Africa needs a global commitment to debt cancellation for the least developed countries that are working hard to address long-term structural problems. Mr. President, in Sierra Leone, we believe that it will be impossible to make the necessary progress on global agendas such as education, health, gender equality, and climate change if we do not reduce inequality, violence, injustice, and corruption. Our medium-term national development plan prioritizes human development capital. We are therefore working to implement all critical drivers of sustainable development. The empowerment of women and girls is central to our government medium-term national development plan. We have established a standalone Ministry of Gender and Children Affairs, developed a national gender equality and women's empowerment policy, supporting entrepreneurship and economic inclusion, implementing affirmative policies for women and girls in all sectors, from education to agriculture, promoting women's health and reducing maternal child mortality, toughening sexual offences laws, and establishing one-stop centers for rape victims, as well as sexual offenses model courts. Since the launch of our country's free quality education flagship program, we have increased allocations to 21% of the budget, increased enrollment at all educational institutions nationwide, prioritized innovation and science in all aspects of governance and national development through the establishment of a Directorate for Science, Technology and Innovation that works closely with the Ministry of Technical and Higher Education. We have equally increased investment in purposeful infrastructure that will generate economic productivity and improve standards of living. We are constructing and resurfacing more roads, expanding access to carbon-neutral energy in off-grid and other locations, extending ICT penetration and improving access to potable water and sanitation facilities. We have launched mitigation and protection strategies to forestall the adverse effect of climate change, especially on our vulnerable populations. On that front, we urge more international cooperation and the urgent implementation of the Paris Agreement on climate change. Mr. President, as chair of the G7 Plus group of countries that brings together countries affected by conflict and fragility, Sierra Leone remains committed to fostering peaceful, just and inclusive societies. Among the actions Sierra Leone has taken so far to foster these goals are ramping up the fight against corruption and preparing to establish a permanent commission on peace and national cohesion. Following a pledge we made at the 74th session of this august body, we have now expunged a 55-year-old law that criminalizes seditious libel. We are working closely with journalists, civil society, women groups, and stakeholders to strengthen our democracy and good governance. With the support of the Peace Building Commission, we have made great progress in fostering peace and sustaining peace in Sierra Leone over the years. Although Sierra Leone will withdraw from its formal agenda, we will continue to engage the Commission as and when the need arises. Mr. President, at the World Summit held in 2005, we made a commitment to an early reform of the Security Council in order to make it more broadly representative, efficient and transparent, and thus to further enhance its effectiveness and the legitimacy and implementation of its decisions. As coordinator of the African Union Committee of 10 on the reform of the United Nations, I should underscore that the people of Africa are convinced more than ever before that the present geopolitical realities and the current global health pandemic compels a comprehensive reform of the Security Council to make way for the representation of Africa in the permanent category and address its underrepresentation in the non-permanent category of the Council. The growing and broad support for the common African position is evident in the recent intergovernmental negotiations as more member states reaffirm the call to correct the historical injustice done to Africa. In this vein, we would like to encourage this Assembly to address this long-standing injustice by adopting Africa's demand as outlined in the Ezulwini Consensus and the SAC Declaration. We look forward to constructive engagement that will be built on progress made so far to advance the comprehensive reform of the Security Council during this session. Mr. President, Sierra Leone reiterates its commitment to multilateral efforts geared toward the total elimination of colonialism in all its forms and manifestations, and supports the adopted decade plan of action. If we are to remain true to the fundamental principles of the United Nations that is fit for purpose, then it becomes absolutely necessary to relegate the chapter of colonialism to history within the period 2021-2030. The global paradigm of engagement, partnership, multilateralism, and mutual respect for the aspirations and views of all people must prevail. Let me conclude, Mr. President, by reiterating Sierra Leone's call for the establishment of resilient healthcare infrastructure and services to curtail and protect people against the risk of COVID-19. Only in that way can we, the international community, reestablish confidence and stability in the financial markets and create the right environment that supports global trade, investment, and job creation. We must put on track progress, toward achieving our sustainable development goals. I thank you.
Clap, 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 clap for the Vice President of Sierra Leone. Don't give it all waiting, them plan for do and what he said and they do. But the people they watch, the people they think, Mr. Shillon, you know, Yerisa. But one of his sister and presenter on VOS, Madam Matilda, make a comment that I think is interesting. There is something called reading with intent and purpose, and in communications, there's something called reading with intent and purpose, and reading for the hearing, just for you know what I mean? He say sometimes and you get good intention, or sometimes and you just they talk no more for let people they hear you talk good talk. So we hope say now with good intention, then put on there, we hope say it will benefit the people of Sierra Leone for all waiting they don't listen say they want to do for push for country go before, because today we did bien. But we pray to God he mean everything what he said, the intentions are pure, and then get a vision for move forward. So Mr. Shillon, you know, the speech, I make them play them because these are Sierra Leoneans, you know, we want for Yeri what you governments they plan, and they don't tell where they not talk all them here, so they don't go tell the world, because our world stage they been there. And you know say COVID all Monday night in country, so they record them, then play them at the United Nations. Mr. Shillon, sir, go ahead.
Well, you know, Englishman get a saying, then say talk is cheap. Now, I congratulate the Vice President for all their lofty ideas here. And, but like you say, don't tell you what the evident talk here. First, this thing about partnering with the Western world or with the big countries, them, it's highly unlikely that's going to happen anytime soon, because it's, to me, it's almost like asking somebody, oh, no, I'm going to business, or somebody you aren't going to business with. So the person gets some cash, probably even brain power and services for put into the prospective business. But you say, I'm going to business with you. You say, what you get? You say, well, right now, I don't get nothing. Well, I don't know how, what you go make that person now go into business with you, or you not get nothing for contribute. We they talk about partnership with the Western world. But unless we have something to offer, so unless we have something to contribute, on a serious basis, it is just going to be talk. So putting their ideas here, or then you say espousing their ideas here, is one thing. But the steps taken for achieve that thing here is another thing. And so this is my own problem when I get with them here. We need for, and we get the ability. It's not like we are so weak and so destitute that we can't do or things. For example, debt relief. I have been hearing about debt relief since I was in high school back home. Why we think say, I mean, if it's not an act of irresponsibility, why would you go take debt where you know say you know get the ability for pay? Then you ask the person who will lend you the money for say, well, write them off and claim on your taxes. Okay, if the person don't want him, then another time, after time goes by, we'll repeat the same thing and the same thing and the same thing. Always demonstrating that we can able to take debt, but we're not able to pay back. And none of us say we'll not get the ability. We get mineral resources. We're one of the richest countries in the world in terms of mineral wealth. Nobody can argue that. And we are lucky in the sense that we get a fairly manageable population. We now get high population. At best, they say we'll get 7.7 million people. By today's count, that is nothing compared to, you take a city like Lagos, that has almost 30 million people. Just one city in Africa and Nigeria. Well, you talk about managing 7 million people and providing for them. How about trying to manage 30 million people? We can't even talk about the nation of Nigeria, with about 200 million people, you know? And so we now get things as difficult for we as it is for other countries. And we have everything. We get agriculture, you know? What is our problem? All the things we should be able to pay for. First of all, we don't need the debt. But if we take debt, we don't for struggle for payback at all, because we have what it takes. Now the management of wealth, now the problem, and the deliberate misappropriation of wealth is another problem. And the lack of enforcement of criminal laws when people are caught doing anything here, we don't catch people and they do anything here, is another problem. The weakness of the police force, where there is a high likelihood that you can bribe the police and get away or get serious evidence destroyed. The likelihood of even trying to get judges them for look the other way. So I think if we want to achieve all in here, we really need to start getting back to basics. Because I've always compared a country like motorcar. If 3 wheels, not the motorcar, of course we don't get 3 wheels. 3 wheels don't even turn. I think we know 1 wheel no more the turn of all the 4 wheels. But even if 3 wheels the turn, if 1 wheel get flat tire, the motorcar not to go anywhere. And if you try for driver that way, there you will destroy them all. So once we begin to understand the machinery of smooth government operation and how for conduct them, and for make sure everything for run on all cylinders, we will get a good go at it. And it's going to be a tough situation because there are certain people in the society in powerful positions who are really benefiting from the corrupt practices. So to them, it's all well and good. So if they're in power and then get some sway over what happens to people, things are not going to happen. So my thing is this thing about writing off loans. Of course, who wouldn't want that? So I wish the government of Salone be able to get their loans written off. So I wish them the best of luck in that. But as a matter of policy, we should do better. We shouldn't be looking forward to that kind of thing. We should have the ability as a rich nation. We're not supposed to be as poor as we are. It almost reminds me of a person or a man who get a storage full of thousands of bags of rice. They get picking them in servant. They are all starving. They eat the most at once a day, and then they get for go to people, then we get less than they get for eat from. And when people ask them, say, well, me when I get a warehouse full of thousands of bags of rice, how come we only eat once a day? They cannot explain. Because this is the situation we find ourselves. Sierra Leone, with all the minerals, the diamond, the gold, the bauxite, the iron ore, the chromite. I mean, you go on, fisheries, agriculture, like coffee, cocoa. I mean, but there are some basic common sense things we know we don't engage in. And we waste money on things. For example, we don't try to table this kind of thing. Take the issue of custom duty. There is some reason why government after government believes, say, all they have to do is hike or raise custom duty at the ports or the ports of entry, Wataki, Lunge, whatever, that you could raise revenue that way. But they raise that much revenue. You are really destroying revenue because the lower the duties are, the more imports the country will get. The cheaper goods will be in the country. The more people will be able to fend for themselves. Now, what is happening as a practical matter, everybody understands this, in Sierra Leone, Liberia, Guinea, there are lots of Sierra Leoneans abroad who then they ship their containers, then they ship their cars to Liberia and Guinea because they say, we're duty high. So we're losing to them people here. And this is a common sense approach. So how do we think we are benefiting? And then we encourage in a such a way corruption because, first of all, the system should be such that we should have people to know that these things are happening. So when it happens, we need to know, not to go catch people and doing the wrong thing. That will solve the problem. Well, we need to know, well, why are people doing this? Why if one send car in Salone? Why you want to send a container in Salone or we contain goods? You descend in Guinea, go clear and day. You descend in Liberia. Know the reason. So if they tell you, say, well, that's because the duty low. Well, common sense dictates we need for reduce with duty too. We got to be competitive because we share common borders. You know, we cannot allow them for outsmart we like that because when you compete with them, when the duty low, it benefits everybody. The common man can afford stuff because duty is low. More things will come in,
Right.
you know, because duty is low. But even when I was much younger, back home, we'll be there in produce buying, the Salone district. One of the people who would buy produce, coffee, cacao, banga for sale. Of course, then you had the Salone Produce Marketing Board that was the main exporter of all anything there. Well, there was a lot of smuggling going on near the Kwendu, Liberia border. Why? Because Liberia was paying per pound. Way back then, they pay about 15 cents higher per pound than we. And so a lot of the people for maximize the income, then they wait, tin and net, they smuggle the things across the border to Liberia. When the government should have been on the alert for easily foil all of that, by knowing that Liberia was doing this, and I don't blame them, we probably not only could have matched them, we probably could pay we on people a little bit more. See how much we were losing across the border. And for some reason, we've never caught on to this common sense approach to protecting we on good. It's not always for lock people them up at the solution. You get you know what's the underlying reason why people do certain things if you want for eliminate bad behavior. Why people do what they do. Well, you know, and then try for educate them why is the or whatever it takes. But we always looking for the shortcut, but it's not the most appropriate, sensible court. And this is what so listening to all the speech, I mean, it's good because the vice president gets enrolled. He has to go to the UN, the GEFO says something, but it's about time, like they can say in America, we're not for only the talk, we should be walking the walk by now, you know? So, you know, this, at the end of the day, people need a better life, you know? So the government indeed has embarked on certain progressive ideas like this free education, which is good because free education is good news in the ears of a lot of people because if you're not a watchman, if you're not an unemployed person, if you're not just hand to much person where they sell 2-3 things and you get 1 or 2 picking for putting in school, because even when they pay school fee for certain relatives, them picking when they can't afford them. So we know what it means. So that's good news. So I know there are some people that can cry out, oh, waiting at this free education. Well, it means something to the ordinary person. We can afford them. So you just can't brush it off. And that's a stepping stone. You know, so if President Bio puts free education, regardless of the flaws of that free education day, I mean, I don't think he implemented and everything was implemented in perfection. Now we on duty for art, now like a step. Mm-hmm. You know, when you want to go upstairs, you got to start with the first step. But that first step, they're not going to put you upstairs. You got to add another step. So if President Bio come with free education, which no other president has ever done. You just can't brush aside the man in progressive ideas and practice and say, oh, what's that mean? And I understand the free education also goes with text or textbooks. I don't know for sure, but this is what I heard from the president in your mouth. Not if say I had my rumor.
That part's there, they don't reach that side yet.
Well, this is what he espoused when he go now and the Harvard Kennedy School of Politics. I watch him. That's what he said himself. So if you don't reach that side, then he should have made it sound like it's
not reach that side, not to some size, some begin and get maybe a few pilots program. I think.
Okay. But at least with anything in life, with human progress, you start off with concept, with idea. So even the fact that he mentioned, which means the president is aware of the fact that if you argue free education, you forgive free books, you provide transportation for the beginning for go school on time, and on and on and on. So when you come up with that, we don't need for condemn them, we need for suggestions and things. Yeah. So these are the things, but we get, I don't take pity. We can't be feeling sorry for ourselves for the talk, debt relief, debt. We don't need that. I mean, we get the ability to take care of ourselves if we just can manage with wealth properly.
Oh, that's true, so true. Now, that's Mr. Salone take on the UN with the Vice President talk. Una go find out and listen and the phone lines are open anytime we wanna feel for add by which we they talk una for joining to the conversation. But let we go to this other issue where they on social media. We see the American embassy don't give we lock the much per week. They don't tell we say because we get 1,300 deportees them where na Sierra Leone they not agree for give them clearance for go give them certificate of traveling and all that kind of thing, and they for let them say they're not Sierra Leonean. Now they don't lock them too much per week. And then we don't do one before again the term where Obama in term, I remember then deport a whole bunch of people then. But this time back, some people are in at the social media, Salone, we not go take that. Let we have show say this and this and that. But I want to hear one video. I want to hear if that 10-day President BO where he been be president for so many days, 75 days, he been sell some passports them. And he tell we say them passport here we then sell, they be need them for buy ammunition. And then he say not so in no more they do and former government themselves been don't sell Salone passports. Then they sell Salone passports then to people them because then they try for raise money now the excuse down there where they give. Now I hear people in a social media then they talk say Salone, we're not gonna go take people because we see last year 2 people that were come on the Caribbean, they reach na Salone, they say they're na Sierra Leone signed them for good day. Now some of them criminal then, some na armed robbery, some na murder, some na this, but then say na Sierra Leonean them. Why? Because with Salone passports, they na all man hand. So now the chicken they don't come home for rules. So I want to hear first President Bio in own explanation where he been give, where they be interview him, why he sell them passport here, and he say former people them they know what they call, and he say international country themselves they do the same thing. And not say inside America, if you get certain amount of money, I think up to 1 million, you want to invest in the country for hire people them, we get job. Then go give you citizenship because you they hire so many amount of people for create jobs, for help boom the economy, they can give you citizenship for that. So, but let we hear what President Bio in say. Then we go hear what the Maria Briwa in say, Mrs. Maria Briwa, when I in at the Consul for Sierra Leone Embassy. Now we hear them 2 conversation them. Then we go come back to Una, please.
So you're accused of selling the country's passport during your reign. Why?
Well, when you say during my reign,
when you were in power.
Not when I was liaison. I only got involved with the passport because I was the liaison over the Ministry of International Affairs for Foreign Affairs. Put the way you put it, it gives the wrong impression, like you take a piece of document and you go stand somewhere, it costs 10 leons, can you buy it? No. We have programs like that around the world. We are in, you can actually have a US passport, you can have a Canadian passport if you invest a certain amount of money in the US or in the UK and so on and so forth. That program had been started by the APC. It was on. In fact, when we took over, the government instituted an investigation into that program. When we realized that this was at the time when Hong Kong was about to be reverted to Chinese leadership, and Macau, most of these people did not want to go under the Chinese, so they were looking for to carry other passports. So this program had been working, had been there even before we took over, and we wanted to stop it. When we investigated further, we realized that yes, that's a good program. The details of it, I cannot go into it. I was directly involved. It was under my supervision, that particular ministry, and that program, we decided that it should continue. Why? We were faced with a situation where in the World Bank and the IMF said we cannot take a penny from our treasury to fight the war. In the middle of one of Africa's crudest wars, we were not allowed to take any money to fight, to defend ourselves, talk less of the country. It was easier using the proceeds from that to buy arms and ammunition, and that was how some of us got involved with that. It was not as simple as taking a document, national document, and selling it.
So it was about raising money?
Of course. We used that for arms and ammunition. I refused talking about this for a very long time because especially at the time when they started talking about it, because it's a matter of national security. The RUF would have been happy to know that we didn't have money, that we were even selling our own passport to buy arms and ammunition. That would have been a breach of our national security. So for a very long time, I would just keep quiet when people talk about it. I wasn't involved. It was not during my reign. I was in charge. I was at the helm of this nation for only 3 months. But of course, I was in charge of the ministries of finance and foreign affairs, under which hegemony this process went on.
Okay, well, yeah, President Bio don't tell we in own side what you do, them sell the Salone passports them. And now we are waiting the American government self they say. Because now we chicken their way, we chicken their way, we don't hatch. Now they're coming home to roost. Then they come home for can lay the egg, then they turn to chicken there now. So we get 1,300 people that we claim for this Salone. We don't cause atrocities in America. Some people from the simplest crime to the highest crime. Let we agree with Maria Briwa say, please.
For visa to citizens them if the government them not do within the inside the US immigration law them. When now the US government don't stop for give visa to Salone citizens them where they apply for immigrant and non-immigrant visa them. For no way to make them take this action, maybe I'll talk to the US ambassador na Salone, Maria Briwa, we start for confirm the sanction inside this interview.
As has been circulated as of September 11th, 2020, the U.S. has discontinued issuing almost all immigrant and non-immigrant visas for Sierra Leone citizens and nationals applying at U.S. Embassy Freetown.
What's the reason for the sanction?
Yes, under U.S. law, when the Secretary of Homeland Security lets the Secretary of State know that a country has not been supporting quickly enough, has actually been delaying the acceptance of their nationals, their citizens, who are subject to an order of removal. At that point, the Secretary of State orders consular officers to discontinue issuance of some or all visas. So the issue is that it's when Sierra Leone citizens have been ordered to be removed from the U.S. or depart the U.S., but have not departed, and they need travel documents to be able to to return to Sierra Leone, the government of Sierra Leone must issue those travel documents. And in this case, the U.S. Feels that Sierra Leone has not been doing so quickly enough, in a timely fashion, or consistently enough. And so these sanctions have been applied.
Has there been any explanation from the side of the government of Sierra Leone as to why there is delay to comply?
I think I would refer you to the government of Sierra Leone on that to answer. We do know that we have, from our side, been continuing to reach out to them, both here and in Washington, on this issue, and working with their embassy in Washington, D.C. as well. So that's all I can say, is that we will continue to work with the government of Sierra Leone on this issue. We look forward to compliance. We're hopeful that we will be able to reach compliance and then be able to rescind these sanctions.
So does that mean the sanction will be in place until the government of Sierra Leone responds to the United States?
Yes. Again, what we're looking for is a consistent, repeatable, routine process by which the government of Sierra Leone issues these travel documents to their citizens so that they can return to Sierra Leone in a timely fashion. So I think once a track record can be established that is consistent, then we will be able to remove the sanctions.
I remember the last time that you sent returnees back home from the United States in August 2019. There are two individuals that were in that batch that claimed to be citizens of the Caribbean, and they are still in Sierra Leone here, stranded. Is the embassy aware of these individuals who were sent from the United States to Sierra Leone and are not citizens of this country?
We're certainly aware of this case, of these two individuals. I can say that the U.S. government does not issue travel documents to foreign nationals. Therefore, if they were issued travel documents by the government of Sierra Leone, that's an issue for the government of Sierra Leone to determine whether or not they're the citizens. Clearly, now they are claiming they're not citizens of Sierra Leone. I can't attest to whether they are or not. Only someone...
They produce documents as citizens of Sierra Leone?
I don't know. Again, the government of Sierra Leone issued travel documents to them. So if they weren't citizens of Sierra Leone, then that is something that only the Sierra Leone government can or cannot attest to.
You spoke about exemptions to this sanction. Who are the individuals or people that are exempted from the sanction?
Yes, the U.S. has, as all international countries that are part of the Vienna Convention, we have agreed to allow for the travel of diplomats, of people going to the UN and other international organizations. That is part of our international obligations, again, as members of the diplomatic community as well as these international organizations. So anyone who is going on assignment to the UN, for example, or to Washington, D.C. to work at the Sierra Leone embassy there would continue to receive visas for that kind of travel. I should also mention, because I've gotten a lot of questions, people asking if this means Sierra Leoneans cannot travel. They can travel. If you have a visa that is still valid, that is currently valid, and, barring Corona and all of the coronavirus issues, if you can travel, if you have a visa, you are still able to use that visa to go to the U.S.
So how many Sierra Leoneans are we looking at in this case?
Well, the numbers change because individuals, as they are given a court order, as something comes up, they're arrested or they're found to be in violation of their visa or their stay in the U.S., or if they commit a crime in the U.S., they can be added to the list of those who will be deported, who should be returning to their homes, in this case Sierra Leone. So it changes. The last I heard was a little over, I want to say 1,300 Sierra Leoneans that were pending orders of deportation.
What are some of the financial implications towards the traveling of those deportees?
I'm not certain exactly
who
bears the financial implications. The U.S. has in most cases been supporting the actual return through chartering flights. Most recently, as you mentioned a few weeks ago, there was actually a flight that was chartered that came from the U.S., stopped in a number of West African countries, as well as Sierra Leone, and discharged some Sierra Leonean citizens here. But that was at the U.S. expense, including the marshals that attended them as well, the law enforcement officers that were with them on the plane.
Well, that's the U.S. Ambassador na Salone, Maria Briwa, they confirm inside an interview with Mabel Kaba, but the sanction.
Thank you. That's 98.1, courtesy of 98.1, Namibel Kaba, the interview the ambassador, Madam Maria Briwa. Mr. Shillon, we know saying we day, and you're a lawyer, you get small, I think you get small immigration law experience, and we don't sell with passport. Then people, then they were all with passport. Criminal, then they were all with passport. Some na real Sierra Leoneans, some now buy the passport or they get the passport by any kind way. We don't know how they get them Salone passport. Now they don't come, then get them documented in the American system, then get them documented in port of entry. Now we then come with waiting and carry it, whether not last year, whether not 10 years from now, whether not whatever years from now, you know, ago, they then gets entry. That entry they then be come with Sierra Leone passport inside America. Now the problem say Sierra Leone say this person don't look like Sierra Leonean. That person they don't look. We get for verify, and then at the delay we don't make now. America say okay, we don't want to take on people there until we take the people there. We don't put this sanction in place, and it go. We don't say it go affect the thing there. And I hear some people and they say then they try for set the government against the people because when people then go tired, then go begin say we not kill them people. Are going to put pressure the people for put pressure for the Sierra Leone government. Now they want and they not deportation. They don't get deportation orders. They don't go through court. Judgments don't pass, deportation they in process. Now you don't see I know say you don't see some people that wake up on the Caribbean where they go left back inside Freetown because they say they may get Sierra Leone passport. So what do you take on all this? What do you advise? What do you take and what do you think to this, sir?
Well, let me start by saying the president with respect to the selling of passports, as then saying it's a common practice by most, if not all countries. Well, I think we need to put everything in perspective. Well, first of all, I give the president a little credit because I think he was very technical in the explanation because there are instances where he say, you know, it was not during my regime, I was not involved, but I was in charge. So I don't know. That's American. I okay say it's a distinction without a difference. Okay. So, but I think what you be allude so not to do in the time when he be the commander in chief or he be the in charge, but I think he be subject to maybe the man in charge of the department to be the handle that. But be that as it may, there is, you know, I think he's managed to be able to explain it. And every time someone is able to explain something, even if you don't agree, you have to give him credit for that. But I'm not persuaded by the president's explanation. But with respect to the common practice of selling visa, I think it's a misconception or passport, may say visa. Actually, it's not passport, it's visa that countries do put price on. Because, for example, you don't get American citizenship because you get money and just decide for invest and you become, no, it doesn't work like that. They say if you can invest $500,000 or more and be able to employ that investment, they can employ X amount of Americans or permanent residents or people with permission to work. They're not necessarily going to be American, but then they would change the jurisdiction of the United States, then impact the employment and the unemployment status. Then say then go give you their process. You just want to go, you pay money, then give you.
Yeah,
there's a process where that puts you on the trajectory or the line or the road for go get a green card based on that investment day. Mm-hmm. But nobody gets American citizenship without first becoming a permanent resident. You have to be a permanent resident regardless of how you file or waiting on your basis after a period of time before you will become an American citizen. So, but people just don't go to any particular place. You pay $500,000.
Yes.
And they say, okay, then stamp you what they call your issue passport. None of that. That is a little bit of misunderstanding. So I think the president get it a little wrong when he say it's a practice by a lot of countries. I don't think any country to sell passports because it would be violation of international law. You just can't be selling passport to non-citizens because passports, even in the United States, there are two ways you prove your citizenship. You get for be either a holder of an American passport, in which case birth certificate is not required, or you get for show birth certificate. Those are the two ways you demonstrate your American citizenship. So basically, to just say then go sell you passport, it's like saying America can sell citizenship to you. No, that's not how it goes. Mm-hmm. There is a process. There is a way it can be done,
path, yeah.
and it takes some time,
yeah.
You know. So I want to let people understand that for say this issue of selling passport, no selling passport, is a little misconception. The other thing about this passport issue, the dispute between Sierra Leone and the United States, here is the problem. When people are put in proceedings, illegal, when in deportation proceedings, mm-hmm. When they're in deportation proceedings, if they are found removable or deportable, what happens? The person, after the immigration judge, because now we get immigration courts mm-hmm. in America. I don't know if it's done in other countries. I know Sierra Leone, they don't have that. But we get immigration courts. We'll get immigration judges. We'll get immigration prosecutors. We'll get ICE, custom enforcement people. When are they in charge of arresting, detaining, transporting violators of the immigration laws that are. Then we get the bail system, just like we do criminal law. So even if you violate American immigration law, there are times you're subject to bail. Then you get a right to lawyer, and on and on, and they get a process. There's a process. There's a system. So people are not just easily picked up and deported. With some exception, under our current regime, where we know say current president is in to break the law all the time in order to follow procedure. And but normally the process is they go detain you. You get a right for get a lawyer. You get a right for ask for bail or for bond. Then usually sometimes they will let you out. Then you get even people who are called bondsmen who go bond you out. They go put up a surety guarantee that you go appear in court and so on. And then when they release you, they will give certain condition. You get for keep the immigration court and ICE updated of your whereabouts. You get for make periodic reporting and all of that. Now, the problem we get with the United States, or Australia get with the United States as far as this suspension, which I'm not convinced. I'm not so convinced that's the reason. Because when you look at the overall Trump policy, this is just some other ways of trying to reduce the so-called people that are coming from shithole countries, as he put them. He is deliberately engaged, no question about it, in trying to limit the inflow of blacks. In fact, that's why I put Nigeria as one of the top countries there, where we put some restrictions there. We're not getting no justification for restrict Nigerians coming here through proper entry. But so my suspicion is a calculated effort. Because I'm going to forget a reason. So the reason when and again now is because of this thing. Because here is the problem. During the war, a lot of Sierra Leoneans did go to, a lot of Sierra Leoneans, don't forget about the buying of visa. Mm-hmm. A lot of Sierra Leoneans, they were refugees. Now different parts, now Guinea, now Gambia, Senegal, different places. Some of the Sierra Leoneans, when they were granted political asylum status in the United States, well, there were people from these countries where people were seeking refuge, who get into the crowd, for example, and say they're Sierra Leoneans because the opportunity exists. So they were able to obtain Sierra Leonean passport. They may not have been Sierra Leoneans. And then, but the opportunity arise, then they join Sierra Leoneans there, because even I had one such experience where a gentleman came to my office. He, of course, naturally, say he's from Sierra Leone. I was excited. I started talking Creole to him, but Sabi Creole. Then I asked, I was partner Salone come out. He couldn't quite tell me who said come out. So I knew right away. I didn't have to spend too much time for no say. He was one of those who took advantage of the political asylum and thing that was taking place. Just come with the group, probably get somebody for past paper for him, or put your name as a family member. So there are people like those. Where then at the group, so now for immigration for immigration for deport you forget a passport, and our only countries they issue passport. Now the procedure is, once you are found deportable, then they contact the embassy of the country where you come out for let them issue traveling document or a passport, because by international law you cannot travel
with expired passport
without a travel document or a passport. So that's where the thing come in. So now the United States call the embassy and say, we get so many names there, we want a travel document or a passport for them. The embassy say, okay, then look, then check, then verify, maybe 8 out of 10, and say, but there are 2 there where they're not Australian. Then America here say, well, as far as we know, then say they're Australians. You see, that woman asked a very interesting question. The questioner will be the question,
Mabel Kabar.
Yeah. He said, because we are responsible for produce document for show the citizenship.
He says Sierra Leone.
He says Sierra Leone. But Sierra Leone not get for show the citizenship of the person, they just get for confirm. And usually, now the person will not deport. Now they say which country. In fact, they ask you, say, if they cannot accept you to that country there, which is your second choice of country you want to deport you to. Now the process that one day. So it's not always necessarily true, but what is happening between Sierra Leone and America now is that America, they play this role of a bully. No question about it. Say, well, we can prove this person, them people are Sierra Leoneans, them, and we don't get the time for proof. They say they're Sierra Leonean, we not get for take them. Well, this current government could have rolled over and played dead, but this current government, they say, no, we are not going to take people away, can't justify or the citizenship in Sierra Leone. This person not get evidence. We not get any evidence for saying Sierra Leonean. We're not going to take it. So now the stalemate down there. I think the BO government is standing up to the US government saying, no, when I cannot force we for take people away, we convince it not to we country and come out. Because indeed, if they get Salone passport, Salone will have no basis to refuse accepting them, because that's.
But like you said, Mr. Shillon, some people came, they come during the war, all that refugee program, some come under whatever means, they come, they obtain Sierra Leone passport. And in their entry, then gets them done as Sierra Leoneans. But then the passports don't expire. You cannot travel with an expired passport. So America say these are the people, they say they're not Sierra Leonean, they get a record for saying they're Sierra Leonean, issue the travel documents and let these people go. So Sierra Leone say no. You know, so what's in that process? Because when you come in, your I-95 is always, and they get a record of you of everything what you do inside. They get a record of you through your I-94 and all that stuff.
Yeah, I-94.
I-94, sorry.
Yeah.
I-95,
which is fine. The I-94 can indicate, and that's another thing. From America don't change their way of processing entry into the country. Before, when they give you the I-94, if you lost some, you get for go through some certain process. But now you can get your I-94 if you lost some instantly by going to the computer and just put your name, that put your date of entry. Even if you don't get a number, the thing will kick up on the computer, then it will ask you if you're on printer, voila, you get your I-94. But that's not the way it was before. So there are people, because we get cases of certain people who actually enter this country, and because there are people enter in all sorts of ways. Somebody could be a Congolese. They get somebody who will go through the black market and get Ivorian passport for them because they all talk French. So you can hire with the name and citizenship of an Ivorian, but he's never been to Ivory Coast. So these are some of the problems. Now, if they want to deport him to Ivory Coast, and that passport will come in, so then one of the old things, so then they don't use that passport they over and over for other people. You see, so there is not good record. So Ivory Coast is saying, well, we can't check that. We can't check that because we know it's not a citizen. This is not the problem. At the end of the day, Sierra Leone and the US will get for work that out. Because some years ago, when Jammeh was in power in Gambia, he had a stated policy. His policy was plain. He will not accept Gambian deportees. So Gambians were not being deported at all under Jammeh. And then in the beginning, he began other conditions. Say, if you deport any of the people, when you bring them with their dignity intact. We don't want you to shackle them. We don't want you to do this. You don't, because there was an incident where the people that were bringing the Americans, they make them handcuff them, go put them in jail for a while before they come. But he was that crazy. He stood up, and then you had an American government that was reasonable, that believe in the rule of law. But the current guy ain't just throwing weight around. Mr. Trump, you say that with Mr. Pompeo, we cannot get a small country like Sierra Leone to stand up to it. We say let them issue passport. Not a problem. Then get forgive. If they not give the passport, they not make we send them prepare. We not give them visa. That's just what's happening now.
We're at Lockhead right now. We there now waiting for the way forward. The way forward.
Well, after a while, I'm sure they will get for solving diplomatically. That's all it is. Because
we get for strengthening with stuff. We get for strength with passport. We get for watch. Because I know say this president government, they say that they make biometrics. I know say them they say you get for day in person because you're not going to send somebody go make passport for you because they be do one before. Just go send somebody go make passport for you. Now you get for day present. But even though you day not present, some people them when I say for present, some people then they do that same old way inside the same passport business with them now. So you see the trouble. We self not the problem too. We self our problems. So we hope they solve them. Like I said, diplomatically, we hope they solve them. So I don't know if you get any other thing.
No, that's all. That's all.
Yeah. So I mean, we got to solve the problem because then now everything we get callers them. No, take the caller them before we can go to the white paper, the long-awaited white paper. Caller, good evening, name please, and who's you call it from?
I'm calling from Washington, D.C. How are you doing? Who's here?
Yes, sir. Good evening. Good afternoon. What you get for what's your name, sir? And
my name is Ahmed Bundu.
Yes, Mr. Bundu. What you get for me today,
Salone, but I live in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
USA.
What you get
the problem which me they talk about, that man what you they explain that true. Because I know what you happy. I've been I get my citizenship now for 2000 and because I came here as a student. Visa locally now having the green card and I get me paper then. I've been a travel why I get my citizenship 2004, 2008 after Obama election I go England. I can't na Heathrow airport. Soon as I hold Salone passport. I during the talk, then the whole Salone passport now I make like say close to the now I see the passport then. So now I call, I say, where you guys, where you from? He say from Sierra Leone. I say, sure, from Sierra Leone? He say, yeah. I said, okay, what I'm going to do, let me call, now I call immigration officer at Heathrow Airport. I said, who is the immigration officer director here? He said, yeah. I said, I'm an American citizen, I'm a Sierra Leone citizen. I said, those two guys, they are not Sierra Leoneans. These are the people who go to Sierra Leone, they buy Salone passport, they cause trouble, then they give bad reputation to Sierra Leoneans. Them. And when I went to 2017, I go to the immigration in Freetown, tell them, You guys going to stop selling this passport to foreigners? They cause the trouble in Europe or in America. But they don't listen. Sierra Leone, they don't care. This thing starts from Shekatibin time. A lot of Nigerians are here. They are Nigerians that they hold Salone passports. During the 80s, I see a lot of them. They say, oh, I'm from Nigeria, but I was in Sierra Leone. So how you came here? And say, I came here as from Sierra Leone passport. I interview a lot of them. They're not going to stop it. Here, they're very strict on passport, but Sierra Leone passport, everybody see them in the office. Oh, I'm going to help you. Pay me money. They're going to go see the director. He puts money on the table. He's going to give the country a bad reputation. These are the things they don't like the country. Sierra Leone, most of the politicians in Sierra Leone, they don't like the country. They just go there for themselves. Those are the things. And that's why I can always tell Sierra Leone, if they don't start to execute people for corruption, I swear to God, that country is not going to live long. Because they don't care. From Shekatibin time, oh, leave her to God. Their kids going to be this. They don't care about their kids. They don't care. They only care about themselves, my sister. They only care about themselves. Why Ghana straight today? Because when Rawlings was there, he round up also ministers, they execute them. Don't worry about human rights. They're making their countries. United States, you can't steal money, you take it out. Now the law said they put in the United States. After 9/11, you can't hold more than $10,000. It crosses in the airport. They're going to ask you, you're going to declare that money. What kind of job you do? If you here when you want to buy a car, if you want to buy car cash, you're going to know. They say, no, you have to know where you're working. What kind of a job you do for living? What's your salary? They're going to tell you, so, okay, pay so amount of this car for 3 years. But over there, people take money, they just cross the airport, bring it everywhere. Here, you don't create yourself to hold $10,000. They cross it in the airport, Dulles Airport here. Without you don't declare that money, say, yes, that money, I'm a worker. I get that money through from hard labor. These are the problems. They take politics to reach the country. That's the only thing I want to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. And that done in a too. Thank you so much. Because the tender we kaya in the 80s and Salone we get good name. Salone we get good name in America. Salone we gets, when they say Nigeria, they run from Nigerians, but Sierra Leone, we had a good reputation, we get a good name, but we name don't go down, the drain. Next caller, please. Good evening, name and who side you call from? When they say Nigeria, they run from Nigerians, but Sierra Leone, we had a good reputation, we get caller, can you dial you set, please? Then you talk to me. Hello, caller. Caller, you can turn down your background feedback noise before so you can.
Yes, Madam Fatima. How are you?
Yes, fine, thank you, sir. Now, what's your name and who side you call from?
This now easy. Hold on, give me 1 second.
Okay.
This not easy as a call from America.
Okay, go ahead, sir. What do you get for me, my brother?
I just want to tell them thank you for the work they do because they work they do so nobody know the pay now, and you can forget the country and hard for doing what they do so. So I just want to tell them plenty thank you for taking the time for doing for showing and tell we which they go in our country. I just want more small number for the immigration side.
Okay.
Me own concern when we get in this country. No sign no day we go here see na this country with the America see they go sell American passport within this country with the suit we have. Forget we get fake green card chef, it's not easy for see. Me, they go Salone. We they see people that they sell passport to any kind motorman, any motorman self we get to foot to hand, they go and like with money they get. You do not care when they born, do not care if you're a terrorist, do not care. So me, in terms of law, now the country, now we are the problem. Not to we always say government. Matter be only able for sit down and immigration say for can watch whether they give passport or not. If we the people are not ready for do the right thing in the country, that country they don't go ever forward. They don't go ever go for before because any thing they do, now we get for do the changes. Not to say now all the posts we can't change that for we. We always see all the country they develop. Ghana, who would say that they go to peace. Ghana, they improve. Even the least country we would think about they all improve. We every day now development that don't with the go. We all fight each other. So this problem, and we get a problem. If we not straighten up the country, but by we set, we find out for can straighten up for we. No foreign and no for can our country. So immigration, I think say for do better. That we one of the most important signals in the country for me to know say you na Sierra Leone, how we get Gambia get passport. Liberia people go passport. Nigeria people then go passport. I don't see out me in Nigeria man go passport. Boku one Salone. The country would be mama we just to turn and 10 kilometers because now they talk for we most they talk, but we talk they not the change that if we not clean up for team up, we make the country go before that country go before mama. Now thank you. I mean
thank you so much, Mr. Ezo. Like you when a younger man, so we don't pass that age and I'm done with the go so. But una day for the future. And we have the up much more thing. Now we all get for be watchman to one another. Thank you so much. And we get for bring the change where we want to see. And we hopeful, we still get hope. That's why we sit here at the talk. Because we still get hope. You know, we love Salone and we still get hope. Because Salone now we can't give them people here take them paper from we anytime. Then he say, give me my paper back and I maybe give you. That's why we want for let them fix with country. So we safe go able go there because long term, like we always say, some people can say, well, not the beginning long term. But no, we people there when they go land book, then go back. Then go back, then give back to Sierra Leone. Then they enjoy the country. But where we can now in the 80s, begin in the 70s, 80s, we're not able to go back. Today, we're not able to go back for go give back to a country. We just go no more 3 weeks, one more, we won't come back now. People country for country. So we get for fix with country in the end. Let's take one more call and then we go to the commissions of inquiry white paper with a don't pull. Caller, good evening, name please and who you call from. Yes.
Yes, so my name is Hannah. They call from Kuwait.
Hello, Miss Hannah.
Yeah, Madam Fatima.
Yes, darling.
Like
Go ahead.
they say, me, I don't travel one time. I go Senegal. Your passport, I see Nigeria, all passport. Then in the where we say, where is which na the point? Like Salone passports, me cannot take us like Salone we get called it clean. Inside 2012. They meet to the other man, the old Nigeria passport, then keep her naked. For that passport, you know more we old. We own passports, we'll get her. Then allow polo pass. So you see, in Salone and our country is it. This money business has where they put before. Because the other color be they say, you so we get the money. If they get the passport, so money, they go save for the immigration. And for no more they pay money. And they say na pay so money. If they get a clean one, even if we not to Sigalinea. You see? So we have to change this mentality, we have to change your attitude. Especially the one the way they look at the inside and the way person go do bad, the country they get the bad name. So I mean a new contribution, Andy.
Thank you so much, my sister. Thank you very much. God bless you. Thank you. We don't take 3 calls. Let we hold on to the call then first. Let we go, Mr. Shilon. I don't know if you get any other thing because this corruption, what they talk about, the commissions of inquiry, where they been set the present government, President Bureau government say there is corruption from 2007 to 2018. They want for see how they account for the money because we know say we all know na Salone. It's unspoken. We're not the same, but we know. You know, because they say innocent until proven guilty. We know say corruption there. We know say we want them whether they kind of government after government that they embezzle with money, fraud, waste, and abuse. We know that. But every president will come from after the war, well before the war said because they do them in the era of the Magais, then don't make commissions of inquiry where for sure can't tell me what you do with this money, how you spend them, what you do, how you make it, so how you get this thing, how you acquire such wealth, how you make so. Every president get the right for doing. But some president do and they don't follow up on the results because then they say because of peace, because of this, because we don't want to let confusion be, blah, blah, blah. We accepting those kind of things. But President Bill come, he say, at the fed corruption and he words is This is a fight that we must fight, and this is a fight that we must win. In as much as it was not popular because we are in the opposition, then call out witch hunt, then call out that they target certain people, them, they don't come from the beginning, then call them all kind name, but now the paper don't come out. And when the paper don't come out, then they talk of, say, oh, well, a part of the paper, they just pick within the one pick. APC self don't pull the press conference release, say they're not there against corruption, but then they against for go the process the right way, who that guilty, lay it guilty, but not go target people them, not go make so we all thing they gonna we President Koma and lawyer don't speak because they say one oh swear day when a President Koma get him a lawyer. JFK don't talk say no, not to President Koma, only on 2 houses. So and they don't talk say we forget a long battle in the court because when they make you President Bill say you get 90 days for campaign waiting and wait and call you for, and every money they go wait and call, and the only thing by the commissions of inquiry, the white paper where President Bill no agree for, he say we not go pull in our politics. But me ask the question why we not for pull in our politics. If somebody don't commit a crime, if he is a criminal, enough for day again now with politics. Then they na straight up case. But I want to play some quick video them. Let we listen quick. I want let we listen to I want let we watch one video first. Something happened then days here because this is what corruption do. I want put on our aid them. I want go into we minds them. Let we say every Sierra Leonean for day against corruption. Against corruption. And as much as we love our parties, it's as much as we love our leaders, but corruption, they deprive the people of the things them. Corruption, they make people and they die where they're not supposed premature death. Yes, now God get life. But over there, get medical system in place where you go there. Yes, now God get life. And I can always say the doctor will tell you, say, we did our best. We did everything we could. They did everything they can for save your life, but not die come. But we see time after time with people and they die premature. They went for kill people, then they kill people them because our medical system not good. We see we education system go down. We see we road then go all kind rubbish, all kind thing. We see we not get water, we electricity today will not develop. Our development will come, we will not get light, we will not get water, we will not get good security, the road them broko. Yes, people that they say not for talk down, but we get for fixer, we get for talk we get for maker. I want to show this video of this accident where happened. I don't want to play the volume because I'm going to talk over them. I just wanted to show the picture. Make una see Sierra Leoneans. They not go per APC, they not go per SLPP. This was a cry, the spirit of 1961, where every Sierra Leonean came together for save a brother, a man where they drive the truck in life, for save him, for try, for help him, for saving life. That was Sierra Leone, the spirit of Sierra Leone. That's the love of the country. But because we see this video go on for so long, there was no emergency vehicle, there was no ambulance, and we don't see accident after accident. There was nothing for go save them people and then in life. Nothing in place. No emergency plan not there in place. Fire brigade not come, no to truck not come for try for car. Now mortal man that they try for push this motor car for lay they able save them brother in life. This is what corruption do to the country. I want let una get and before una begin say APC SLPP. Let una watch. This was a bridge na Congo cross because we road transport. Then they bribe people then for register motorcar where they don't condemn where motorcar then they go. They don't get maintenance, good maintenance. The speed, the recklessness where we know they enforce Broko motorcar then Kidena road where the tire they're not good. This not good. Every kind of thing. The people them look at how we brother and sister them because of corruption. We not see no ambulance. We not see no emergency vehicle. Now mortal man them they try for save. This is what corruption does to a country. This is a country without no vision because the one them leaders after leaders are coming and not put in place. If sometimes The one day when they say, go buy this for we country, then go buy rotten old thing, then they keep the rest of the money then and then pockets them. We they see contractors them, we they see people them, we they see things that when they do. We look with brother and we sister them, they try for save them brother in life. No emergency vehicle. Mr. Shilon, add to this before we go to the commissions of inquiry. This is what corruption do to a country.
Well, me on plea, and I plead with we officials then. There is a reason why in the Giwi Widow Land Book portfolios them, ministerial position. There's a reason why then they put you in charge. And then contrary over there, it's unthinkable that a bridge will collapse or motor car will go off a bridge where people are known to be injured. You not get ambulance on standby, ready to take the seriously injured and the less seriously injured away. And we were there in charge. I don't think, say, that the BO government or the Nkrumah government, you can find a single person who will hold a cabinet position. One of them come abroad, either on a visit or attend school, or for stay here for a prolonged period of time. So we know better. This is the thing I don't understand. So when you get, I don't know what department under which emergency preparedness come. Because we know about stories during the Ebola time. A lot of countries contribute ambulances then to it. We run the ambulance them into ruins. Then we left them. We not repair them. They're not serve any useful purpose now. We're back as usual. Why we think, say, we not for uplift we own standard of operation, service to people? Why anybody within a position would think, say, the average Joe Blow will get a serious accident, even if not a serious accident, let's just say illness. Why we think, say, that them people, they're not entitled to that service day? How we would not get so many ambulances that wouldn't contribute to it? In 2-3 years, we'll not get anybody operate anymore. And so my disappointment is we will get education, we're in a good position here. We get for go there and try for set policy. Policy will go help people them. Let people and see, say the government did it for them. But this thing about Motukade Forona Bridge, you get ordinary citizens then they around and then they try for help, for secure. You not get government officials. You not get ambulances to take the sick and the injured. It's very disappointing. And then we all the brag about, I be there America, I be there Germany, I be there Canada, I be there Australia. Well, that not to do any good if not so with the truth to people. So me just plead to the one that we're in charge now, Salone. If we not take off, we not focus a little bit in trying for get some comfortable living, we not try for just help the ordinary people. Not only forget ambulance, but forget policies, how ambulances then for travel down the street. When they put the siren and then lights on, people should be educated how not for block them, because then they go save life. So not only for provide the ambulance get forget way for operator. You get forget tell the public, say when ambulance they come, come on a road, the ambulance get for stop completely because you get that it could be a crime. So the one that when are lawyers, then for that, and the parliamentarians then for be able for pass laws for cover that, because it cover everybody now for everybody in good. This is what running a government is all about. But this thing about we just think say, because the thing is, the psychology is, I'm convinced we really believe say, because we're all in Africa, man, comfortable living not a part of the privileges we enjoy. I really believe saying that so people and see things. That, in Africa, man, with buses then where you ride from Freetown to Connaught to Bo, even though the country hot. But we in Africa, man, we don't need air condition. And you will stop for see yourself that way there. You get ferry with it broke halfway in the water. Oh, and I just poor people in from Lungi and this and that. So we don't need any. I just don't understand how you get a ferry where they operate now that dangerous terrain there. We don't get condition ferry to go break in the middle, broke down at the middle of the sea. Those people could have died. Lives would have been lost. Watching at the regulations, they need for get regulation. They need for require even if the ferry, get for wear a life belt, but don't forget periodic inspection for no say the ferry then safe. We forget more than 1 or 2 or 3 ferries. Now I would go Lungi, so we will try for prevent them being and for being overloading them. So I'm disappointed at the people that were there in charge because they are really not treating the people right. The one that will get money, then go pay $40 from Lungi, zoop, then they are badin, or then they na government wife. It's just not fair to the people. Because I think the policy will for the set, if always geared to affordability of the service to the poor man, then of course, anything else above that, no matter of option if you can afford them.
Right.
Like where you fly overseas. I mean, you get coach, but they get first class, they get business class, but they make sure say there's coach for the majority of people. But imagine if they made the base and price on first class for everybody. Tough luck if you can avoid you can't afford it. This is the way we set policy back home. What they set policy, we don't think in terms of the average man, ability for buy or do something. We doesn't set the policy. This is the reason why I keep talking about certain things, even when you talk about toll traffic. Sierra Leone's economy it can't sustain a toll traffic. Because we're not there yet. We're not there yet, but so the one that would have set them policy, I will hope them will rethink what they suggest, what they do, because all these things are short run, they're not the benefit the country they make, we still then at the same place. We're not go any side. So if we want for progress, we really get for come up with practical solutions. Meaning solutions that will go work, solutions that where you go put into place, where you go make a difference in the lives of everybody. Of course, if you make a difference in the life of a poor person, you know, so you go make a difference in the life of a rich person. So you're not going to worry for the rich one then so much, but policies based upon providing services to the few, I think it's not good governance at all.
Yeah, let Mr. Sheila now take some calls then, sir. Then we go to this white paper business and this corruption business where they in a Salone. We all know say corruption day, so we're not going to deny the fact say corruption all day. So caller, good evening, name please, and who side they call me from? Mr. Sheila, you want to do the honor, sir?
Yeah, what is it?
They call them.
Hello?
We get call them. Yes.
Hello?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Caller, what's your name? Who's you call from?
I call from Kenima, Salu. I call from Kenima, Salone.
Okay, Salu. Nice for hearing your voice. Tell me what you got on your mind.
Yeah, really, I come in really late on this program. They watch all the programs as a lawyer when I AYV on Sunday, just the same thing about this white paper. But I meet at the end of the first topic when about this returnees to Salone that didn't the politics away for cow there. At that program, I will discuss first before ever I discuss this white paper. To the issue of this returnees, you see, sometime these days or last week, I believe one of our brother, Mustafa Wai, when a brother to the current ambassador of Sierra Leone, America, when I see Wai. He said put out an audio to therefore explain the further about this passport issue. I said, for instance, in a refugee, you go through America through refugee 1986. He said by the time when you go, that time now you ain't have document to get.
Salone at that time, because I run the wrong on Liberia, then go. You know, they get birth certificate, you know, they get Salone passport. Because what made the money for start under? These are all people that cause problem in America under. Where's Salone government if you can see in there? But again, you go further for talk say other people where they go, they get Salone passport. When I would say self, they give people the one that knows there from other countries there. You know, there are issues when involve corruption in this country. Then when people they talk about this corruption, this law get a starting point. They don't tell what they party here. When President Bono the Institute Commission of Equality, white people, some people they grumble, some people they glad. But let's get a starting point. We start able to stop this corruption once and for all in this country. That was how I go for talk. Even if you know they go to the immigration office or the embassy in Salone, they say they get recorded. So this is our issue. It's the people they hold. Some they are armed robbery, some they are drug steal, some they are rape. And so they say they threat to say if they come in Salone, they go shoot, they go send people and they shoot some embassy staff there under. So these are all worry business and this for the embassy in America day. And every for Wunaya. In 2019, they deport people there. 2 days when I Caribbean, they don't say no there. 30 days in the day, more than 1 year ago now, then they are still. You see, so it's not the situation bad. We say self will get from this country. We just the issue passport, give people there. We don't say no there, only because in the name of money. So these are all issues of corruption. So if I told this white paper not come out, this commission of inquiry don't do, this white paper not come out, Lord tell God to thank you. Maybe you don't say corruption go down, but it could be minimized. Because even the current regime, let's say the fear, say, hey, there's something ahead of us. Low fear, low know how to do things. But if we left for them also, it's not going to find. So all put up on this white paper, many people, of course, this I've been listening, just like I've been listening program, this AYV on Sunday. One of the lawyer for the persons of interest, Warasari Camara, one lady, immediately, they say they appeal, and which is good. That is the beauty of democracy. If they say they appeal, it is fine. Because maybe in 90 days, of course, the Commission of Inquiry will recommend, say, in 30 days, people there for return only or pay. But the government make a 90 days, which is 3 months. So they get time for appeal and hear them, which is very fine. But not cry down this white paper. This corruption, it don't become so rampant in this country that it is not good. The previous administration will get from the auditorial report. All the time we don't come out of those two now. And they count through the auditorial report. But because there was no political way for address it here, they let it in and tell not come out by the Commission of Inquiry. People they still grumble. But these are not secrets. They have become up throughout the auditorial report. They talk, but they address them. Now the thing not come out of those people they grumble still. So let's wait. Then people they want to appeal. Let's see what the appeal cause they tell them. But really, Lord as him say, me they work, they check my benefit, my salary, everything per DM. Now 10 million news. They check that my account, I get 50 million news day. Who say I get that balance money? So these are all questions we need for us. No, just say now, so now, which one? It's not which one. Let's get a starting point by this corruption at Salone. But I don't get much for say. As I say, I just got in for this program. In fact, less than 30 minutes. What they get to now so. But just for telling us, say, myself, I listen now. Really, I've been follow up now because of this AYV on Sunday, which is a way very fine about this same white paper. Now, they follow up. Yes, about format of salvage. I listen now, but the program contribute. We're very fine. Once more, maybe I will call back and contribute. I thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, my brother, Mr. Shilo Udoyegi. But one play, the brother make a very good point. Say this is the starting point here because then we don't do auditor general reports they come up, but nobody know really go after things. Then now President Bio don't set the pace, and President Bio self no say in safe. If you do something wrong or anybody when they call, then go come after them later on because we get to ask questions. We as Sierra Leonean, we want to know how they spend their money, who side they spend their money, because we want for let them get their money then for the people, for improve the lives of the people, and we get for encourage commissions of inquiry. But we don't need commissions of inquiry. Let we do the right thing so we not forget to commissions of inquiry. Let people get integrity for hold on to the waiting. But let we play the video of Umar Fofana first. We play Umar Fofana the report where I think he interviewed President Bio where he asked him about the commissions of inquiry and what happened. Okay, while they queue down there for we wait for the the report on. If we not get down there yet, we can play the one on where the Sierra Leone government puts together the short form on what may happen Thursday. There's a video out there where tell we in summary of everything what happened when they do the white paper. It's a summary.
If you read the report, you find out that there are 7 officers in this government whose names appeared there. They were investigated. So it was not only confined to, for example, one political party operatives, but all those who served in the previous government. And you will recall that there are some people in this administration who served in the previous government. So you cannot say it's a witch hunt.
Public accountability is a cornerstone for a democratic system, and we need to hold our leaders accountable, and not only for financial accountability, but leadership accountability. We have been politicizing every facet of our conversation linking to national development.
When you are corrupt, when you are in a position of authority and you are corrupt, you will not go scotch-free. The investigation will always catch up with you. That is the lesson everybody should learn from this investigation.
All persons who were summoned to the commissions of inquiry, we are not summoned because of their ethnic group, their religion, or their political party. They were summoned because they had been entrusted with the supreme responsibility to serve Sierra Leone. So these commissions of inquiry should also serve as a strong warning to serving officials that you have a duty of care to make the best decisions and act always in the best interest of citizens of this country and of the nation. Those who may wish to incite or engage in unrest and violence in order to obstruct the process of implementing the full enforcement of the recommendations will be subject to the full force of the law.
Leone, following 3 commissions of inquiry into the activities of the administration of the former leader Ernest Bai Koroma. President Julius Maada Bio and his government upheld most of the recommendations made by those commissions, but there are complaints that the findings are politically motivated rather than intent on rooting out endemic corruption. Umaru Fofana has been talking to President Bio.
Well, there's a sense of fulfillment. I made this as a pledge to the people of this country. And besides, we have to draw the line. If we are serious about development, we cannot be this corrupt as a nation and expect to develop. So for me, this is a big milestone in the history of this country.
What are the highlights as far as the white paper is concerned?
It's quite a lot going through from the president to all of those who are investigated. So I will rather say that properties are going to be confiscated, people are going to return monies to the state because they were found to be wanting as far as the investigations are concerned.
How would you characterize the scale, the assets that will be taken back?
Well, it is of such magnitude that we have only touched the tip of the iceberg. We cannot spend as an administration the whole term of office just investigating people. But like I said, we want to make corruption unfashionable. We want to make it risky, we want to make it expensive, and people will have to think twice before they steal people's money.
And when you say that some assets will be taken back, do those include assets of the former president, Ernest Bai Koroma?
There are a lot of assets there. I don't want to be personal, but definitely properties are been. There was recommendation for a lot of properties to be confiscated, monies to be returned to the state.
When you were opening the commissions of inquiry, as well as when you were launching the white paper, you emphasized on the point that those serving under your administration will have to behave themselves, so to speak. How much do you think you've been able to use this as a way of letting them not have their hands on the tiller?
Well, I keep reminding them, including myself, seated here, And I keep re-emphasizing the fact that we are going to account one day, and therefore we should follow the processes and procedures as far as financial and administrative management of the state is concerned. So I will keep reminding them, I will let them know, and we want this to be a culture, a part of our society, so that it's not just for my own administration. We want to draw the line. We have a lot of vulnerable people, the youth, the children, the women are suffering. We should pay more attention to serving them in public office rather than arrogating to ourselves monies that are meant for the state.
And do you think they are listening to you, to your warning?
Well, it is difficult to tell at this point in time, but the Anti-Corruption Commission is at work. And if anybody is found wanting and brought to my knowledge, definitely they will face the full force of the law, as I've always emphasized.
Mr. President, you say that you've taken on board all the recommendations by the commissions of inquiry. Do those recommendations include banning anybody who was found wanting from holding public office?
There was a recommendation for that in one of the commissioners' report, but the government has decided under my leadership to not bar anybody from public office or politics, because in my view, we are not here to witch hunt. We are here to get the people's money back so that we can invest in on the people of this country. I believe that this was going to take the steam away from what we really intend to do. Impunity is one thing that we want to stop. This is an open process. We may face the same thing, and it is good to make it transparent, free, and fair. And that is what we've made it.
Are you surprised by the scale of the alleged corruption that's happened in the period that has just been investigated?
Well, no, because corruption was endemic in this country. It became a culture. Like I said, fashionable. Those who stole were the ones that lived the best, and people even hailed them for stealing.
You say you will go after the money, the assets. They will pay all of it back. Is that something you are determined to follow, come what may?
We cannot spend billions of millions investigating, and these are recommendations from the various commissioners. We have accepted them. We are going to pursue that to the letter.
And that's the president of Sierra Leone, Julius Maada Bio, talking to Umaru Fofana. A lawyer for the opposition All People's Congress, or APC, has denied these allegations and says they will be challenged. If you tune in for the next edition at 17 GMT, you'll hear what.
It's 15:06 GMT. This is Hassan Aruni with Focus on Africa from the BBC World Service. Coming up, Nigerian Catholic bishops tell President Buhari to get a grip on various sectarian conflicts or step aside. And as World Cup quarterfinals loom, African students talk about life in Russia. But first, Sierra Leone, where former leader Ernest Bai Koroma is accused of presiding over an administration that was engaged in corruption and state plunder on a massive scale. The allegations are contained in a report by a transition team set up by the new president, Julius Maada Bio. Umaru Fofana has more from Freetown.
Grim, gloomy, grubby. These are some of the adjectives being used to describe the contents of the audit. It speaks of corruption and abuse of office on a grand scale by the government of former President Ernest Bai Koroma. The allegations are wide-ranging and mind-boggling. The massive sales of state assets to the former president and his acolytes, the awarding of phony and inflated contracts for goods and services, the issuance of diplomatic passports to purported housewives of members of the former ruling party, the government renting as offices houses belonging to government officials at inflated costs, state-owned banks having to write off as bad debts millions of dollars of loans given to officials of the former ruling party, overpriced arms contracts, inflated cost of roads, some of them priced at over $3 million per kilometer, some concessions given to mining companies and exempted from any form of tax whatsoever, and entrenchment of mono-ethnic politics. The report also says the government's own shares at the Sierra Ruta Mining Company were sold when the miner was making huge profits to the former president and his cousin who was heading the company, and they both made a profit of over $100 million. The head of the transition team and now Chief Minister Professor David Francis looked peeved as he addressed the press conference. He gave me his impressions of their findings.
Sierra Leone was brought to near financial bankruptcy and the worst economic crisis since independence because of the activities, the poor governance of the former APC government. That is one. Secondly, and most importantly, that it was done in a way that represents a framework for what you would describe as an organized criminal racketeering enterprise responsible for the dysfunctional nature of the state itself.
What do you say to someone who says this could be a witch hunt?
Well, this is not about witch hunt. This is really to establish the basis for democratic accountability. We are recommending that a forensic audit be made through a special audit process to establish the key facts and a judge-led commission of inquiry, which will be independent and transparent. This is to ensure that this does not happen again in Sierra Leone.
He said that as a Sierra Leonean, he was ashamed of the things he saw during the audit, calling them disgraceful, egregious infractions. The report calls for a travel ban to be slammed on all those named in the report. Many of them have already left the country, with their extradition to be likely requested by the Commission of Inquiry to be set up. President Julius Maada Bio said he would act on the report as a matter of urgency.
I've just received a copy of the report, which has been long awaited. But I want to say this clearly, that we have to draw the line on corruption in this country. We have to fight corruption, and it is a fight that we must win. I know corruption is going to fight back, but we are on the better side of history. This is just the beginning. Corruption is at a level that can destroy this nation. I consider the level of corruption that we have met as a national security issue.
The allegations contained in the report with detailed figures and documents suggest corruption in Sierra Leone is not a kidney stone, it's a cancer. While not many here would be surprised at some of these allegations, most could be blown away by their scale and scope. The former president, Ernest Bai Koroma, who is out of the country, was not available for his reaction. His media officer, Ismail Sharif, told me that they had not yet seen the report, and so could not respond.
Omar Fofana reporting there from Freetown. And coming up on Focus on Africa, we go to...
Don't talk. This white paper don't come out. This long awaited 1 year, then begin, but we see APC they say don't write. We see APC they don't come, they don't say this thing are so not target them and then do on deliberately for try for go after them, for try for indict them and try for get them into what they call. They say they not get problem if they do on the right way, but the intent behind this commissions of inquiry and all this kind of stuff, then do them out of malice and out of, because they want to get back for a long thing where we don't go on between APC and SLPP. Now the report, some people say now witch hunt. But in 2008, Ernest Koroma be make then president, be make a statement. He put a statement out there where he talk on the commissions of inquiry, where he tell the people and say, not to think for worry. If the money where they don't send on behalf of the people, them, they say, some people are talking about witch hunt, but this is not 2000, and that's not right after they launched the Commission of Inquiry, 2008, where they begin talk about the commissions of inquiry and all that. It says some people are talking about witch hunt, but what I am saying is that the people have right to know about monies sent to this country in their name. It is everybody's right to know, and then, oh God, the light is in my eyes. And then we would be able to correct the system. I said it during campaign, but some people thought I was joking. I was serious about it, and now it is the time to give account. The time to give account is here. But if you have skeletons in your cupboard, we will open it and let us all give account of our stewardship. 2 years later, the paper is out, and President Bio, former President Ernest Bai Koroma, and name the inside the paper, and we hear it in lawyer talk. we really and lawyers say they go get for fight a battle na court because they not agree to waiting the findings. And we hear and talk say the host there where they say na President Koma gets na 2 grand host President Koma, the one na Femi Toma na drive na Godrich and the one where they pan na McKinney. So they therefore go na court for all that day. But like I will say again, commission of inquiry where they don't do corruption, they eat we country, corruption they deprive that mommy not for able for get good hospital for they able born in Pikile not die sonogram machine they not then a free tongue. Our hospitals are death chambers, contractor then they take money then they eat we yearly then there's on social media the women's deputy chair lady, the second in command, the chair lady of the SLPP women's it accused JJ Safar JJ Safar, the Minister of Finance, say how we corrupt in the ways where they come on a power, now they go prosecute unto APC because he get all this source and it's like it's continuing, President. They do this, but then they make accusations, say a minister then theft and corruption right now. And I know say the SEC boss who don't interview and Twitter na this show ya Ben Kelfala is say he get for do fire brigade for autumn before he went not for chase and later. So I hope say that they look into that. We don't hear report they don't come and say the parliament corrupt, the police corrupt, everything corrupt, the minister then corrupt. But the minister, chief minister come out, they say, oh, that they not true, that reports there, the report will come on not to true side and pull that report in a lie and they lie, And me no say if they say you corrupt, you go say, okay, we will go find out what's in at the team. Why make the people they want to interview say what's in at the sample want to collect? But for just can't say them on a lie and they lie. So and you have been the same minister where we don't talk say if they give you money, if you take 99%, the 1% you put in your pocket, then they call you now the social media and outside Salone people then they call you Mr. 1%. So now you said we don't talk and now when they say una corrupt, when they say minister and corrupt, they say not lie, then they lie. But let we play one more, 2 more video. Let we play President Koroma, former President Koroma, where he been talk on corruption. They be interview I think na America where he talk on corruption and the way we're serious for fight corruption. Let we go, please.
President, you said that corruption was endemic, really, when you came into power, and you said we have to take on corruption. I've advised everyone, including members of my own family. I've advised that. I mean, how do you tackle corruption? Have you done anything yet? Have you made it a separate body, the commission?
Yes, I have appointed a civil rights activist, a lawyer, to be the anti-corruption commissioner. He is now working on restructuring the entire anti-corruption. We made a commitment to giving the Anti-Corruption Commission a complete independence. That will entail the review of the law to remove the power of prosecution from the Office of the Attorney General to the Anti-Corruption Commission itself. And we are committed to doing that. Now, I have also taken the position that we should send very clear signals that it is independent, and also very clear signals that nobody will be protected, and not even members of my family will be protected. And I've made a commitment to it, and we are going to go on with that. The Anti-Corruption Commissioner is given the full mandate to move on wherever the evidence takes him.
Okay, that is just a short one. But now we are waiting President Koroma and lawyer they don't say, because we not say press release then they come out as with the talk show. Khalifa Cargo, when I have been the financial controller for Petroleum Directorate, denied the involvement in any transaction of Petroleum Directorate. He said that some of the issues are not true. So everybody, they hire lawyer now. Now lawyer to lawyer, they get for feds, they get for go to court, because if they tell me say I do this, now the process they go to court, because some get for take a court, then they say they not do that. So like our former President Koma say, he say the skeletons in the corner, if you get skeleton in a closet, you go get for common do. So the skeletons are coming out, and everybody, we know say contractor them, they name them day inside there. We know say minister, they name them day inside there. We know say people, they name them inside there. So let we listen to the president, former president and lawyer, Mr. Ernest Bai Koroma, and lawyer. Let we see
feel about the white paper recommendations.
Issues of accountability are always welcome as dividends of good governance. At the individual level, having participated in the proceedings of the Commission of Inquiry, defending the former heads of state and several of the ministers, were taken aback and disappointed at the outcome.
Why is that?
Because we have not seen the report, which has not been published. What we've seen is a white paper, and the findings of the white paper in some aspects are contradictory to what we experienced in court at the Commission. And furthermore, we see instances where evidence has suggested how the monies were applied and appropriated. But today, we see requests for those monies to be paid back. It's outrageous, it's shameful, it's vindictive.
The general idea behind the white papers seemed to be, in the words of the president, to make corruption unfashionable, to make it risky, to make it expensive. Do you agree with that sentiment?
It's all fine in word, but it has to be in deed and in action. But if the white paper is selective in its choice, and you can see in some aspects of it that it's an issue of vendetta, it definitely undermines the challenge of those words. So I think while it is highfalutin sounding, it is not what you see in real terms.
But why do you think it's a vendetta?
It is a vendetta. For example, the issues surrounding the Ebola force. The Anti-Corruption Commission has done its investigation and found nothing wrong. And these are the specialists in the area. And yet still, we see the white paper suggesting that monies were defrauded and monies to be paid back for work that has been done, for which evidence is there. It is outrageous and surprising.
Isn't the white paper calling for investigations into how money was spent and where it was spent improperly? Then you will have investigations and you will have prosecutions. Surely that sounds admirable.
In the areas where it is asking for investigation, it is clear the intent, because normally what you look at, try to find out what is the intention of seeking an investigation with the Anti-Corruption Commission, because there they want to go to court and then have people being dealt with by the court, so they will not take the blame for it. But these are matters that the commissions dealt with. The commissions came with a position and they have not released the report. What we want to see, release the raw data of the report so we can compare with what is on the white paper. The white paper is an addition. The white paper is something that the government has fixed up.
It seems from what we've seen of the white papers and what's contained in it, certainly, there are implications that the former president, Ernest Bai Koroma, is implicated in the corruption in Sierra Leone. Do you accept that that might be a possibility?
I personally participated in the Commission of Inquiry, and I was representing him as his lawyer. And I'll speak objectively on this point, that there are issues where there are implications, but most certainly there are no issues where you could call legal implications or legal liability extended to him. We have issues where they've addressed houses, estates in his name, which do not belong to him, and yes, they've gone further and accept that they belong to him. We have issues where he has only owned 2 houses. We showed how he's earned his money, that he has the ability to build the 2 houses, yet still they took away the only 2 houses he's built. Here is somebody who's been a president for 10 years. He's been head of the opposition in parliament. He's been head as an executive of one of the foremost insurance companies in the country. And yet definitely he cannot even own 1 house. It can only be vindictive and a vendetta. What is clear is that they are out to impoverish him, to make him destitute, and will challenge that to the highest courts of the land.
In broad terms, there are people who feel that this could be a political witch hunt. Do you feel that way?
I feel more than that way. I myself am a victim. I gave a legal opinion about a matter that I believe that the Sierra Leone Supreme Court is the ultimate court of the country. And you couldn't believe what the white paper said, that for that legal opinion I've given, I should pay damages. Outrageous, disgraceful and shameful.
Former Sierra Leone Defense Minister Joseph Fitzgerald responding there to the interview that we had earlier by President Madabio. Still to come on Focus.
Thank you so much. That the lawyer don't talk, former president and lawyer. Somebody they asked, I don't know what in Mr. Jackie Ma or whatever her name, Amara Mada Jokai. They say me they lie. I don't like Mother Bill. Oh my God.
What's in factual basis?
I don't know what they say.
How's access to it factual basis?
Yeah, so I don't know what they talk of at the lie because
exactly.
everything I put is on tape, and I talk on the women's leader. So please, let we play that video. I'm not going to entertain again that video there, but I play that video there. Waiting that woman they talk on, and they talk on the corruption right now. They accuse this is a leader, and this same woman we don't come earlier during the year if we don't make accusations them because that what's in the term again quid pro quo. Well, that one, yeah. So that means say, do for me, I do for you. Catch me back, I catch for you. If I do you good, you for do me good. Yeah. That kind of way then they already get them, and we know say they minister them. We know that this is not old thing. We know say minister them. When they give contracts to them people here, they get percentage inside there. Well, I just share a quick one. I know we want to entertain, but people call us liars. I love Sierra Leone past you, my brother. I don't know what you call love of Sierra Leone, but me, I put Sierra Leone first. I don't have no interest in any party. I put Sierra Leone first, and the things that we do, let we learn at the table. What is wrong is wrong, what is right is right. So let we play this video quick for the same corruption them where they talk on. We got President Beyonce, if they talk every day to in people them. If they talk every day to in people that say, if una self do them, then go after or not, I'm not going to tolerate that. But yet a leader of a SLPP women come out and make this audio, and they go back and forth with other people. They cost themselves on social media. But let me listen quick. Let me just play them quick, please. Let me play this video. Let me listen.
JJ Safa, why say they talk to you so? I want to say you not to God. You not to God where they give. You not to God. You say self now God I appoint you there. And I want to tell you say, in one way or the other, everybody contribute for more how they so today. But una think say, una get blessing past all man. Una think say, una young, una do better. But they tell you for real, JJ. That treatment say, well, una they give we not deserve them. Una they treat we like trash. You can imagine, now the second time this I don't go na your office, they treat me like you not ever see me. But once God knows say now we suffer for this government. Now we suffer with the left pick the small one. We they jump at it. We own small money there. We're not a party give we labor for her. We they do businesses then. We pour up at this election for more how they so today. Una fee say na una sabi make una dey how una dey so. Believe you me, JJ, you God go make that Minister of Finance Motoka na get for summer sort with you. Because what you do, you dey treat we, you dey feel say, and you dey talk say how we in a SLPP they elect the treat we no go come on at the party. Not all una sick go make we come out inside this party. We dey I tell una. How any kind treatment una give we here, we know they come on inside this party. We want see the ending. How some of una get for end inside this process. Una feel say na like mother. Some of una na sabotage to this government. Some of una na trash to this government. There will una be done day una all hard up be done day pa una. Una feel say na the sky na una do me na una do waiting. Where be pull audio try they will tell you say you treat me. You go and talk all over to people. Let's say how you call me no grigo. You God go halaki you. God go pull me hack you. That lie where they lie pa me. God go halaki you. See they back. I don't go there. You see all man. You left me. I sit down. You know mon ami o. Now the word wait you talk. You say nobody no go tell you. You not see me na CCTV camera. You take you bundle. You come on do. Now so God get for halaki you. Now so you go gather all wait you they gather. So you left and get that crank all lady. He enjoy and good because you not get blessing. That's kind suffer. Would they make we neighbor they laugh una they stress we una they enjoy you if they go China and they carry with 6-7 container the loaded one. Where not be they ever do that kind business then? Duty free. And see now una don't bring anti-corruption. That anti-corruption they you JJ get for empire. You know the commodity. And see now you don't go OP Banana Beach for the drink rum free one. all who say you businesses, then they all who say you don't buy houses, then all who say you don't entrench yourself, we sabi. Now we get forget information about you. You wait. Now we dey in governance, we know they talk. But the day where they come on inside governance, we not get for left there forever. Oh. One day we go come on. May God spare we all life. Now that sense some of una they see una downfall. Now that sense some of una we go treat una like how una they treat we. Now that sense we go show una say. Now that sense APC go take all the property there now una hand. Una wait for we. This kind treat where you na they treat we so. Una they see we like we not do nothing. Una they like say we not do nothing for this government. Una forget say Madabi una mi go nominate her. You forget that one day. Now me not be the only woman we go nominate Madabio. Yes, for beef presidential candidate for SLPP. You forget that day they nearly want kill me for enter inside that hall for go inside elections management waiting. Now Tower Hill. You forget all that day. Some of we now we blessing. Some of you blessing I lead to that one day. But they like today when I not see we make nothing. Una they use we, una don't use we, una don't dump we. They are gonna your office, you don't know where I go for. Me not a big person. Me I get integrity first. Where from all the win power, would they give me nobody? If mother be no member me no more, nobody know the way they member me. So now I make an go na nobody do much. The day where God put on my heart, he give me smart yaola. But apart from that, nobody know the where they help me inside this government. Now I mean I'm now they pray for 24 hours because now they remember me as smart man. I know say I work for and I make a beer. But una they puel we God go puel una. JJ God go puel you. That puel way they block we. That block way they block we. That lie way they lie. God get for lie by you in this country. You know they end fine. You go end you sit down. You know they enjoy that gentry way don't kapu. If you enjoy a pa, where we not to people if you enjoy we will not be pray for Madabio for me go inside governance. Now so they pray for you to be specific. Would they pray for you? Get for lucky. This now see how the 5 years get for end with you. Because that juju una depa. Una de go pull them barba sarade. Hey, it get for end pa una wo. We sabi all landy. Now make una know the leader, una know they sleep, una know they hey juju walk. At the end pa posse bad. When you do on the righteous way, God go timabia you. But for now, una feel say the sky now una limits. But una God get for expose una God get for disgrace more like you. The treatments the way you don't give people there yesterday una all be the rally. You don't even the over. They like today you feel say you kind of there. You get for die popper. You get for die you OP. Me this why they tell you so. Go play on any side. I know safe. Because I must see how this old we won't I know they give me, I know they live, I know they survive. I they survive. This God now they give. Me, I believe I make her the worshiper every day. And in truth way, now they worshiper. God, it they give me. You not give me, say God, they give me. God go make way. God go church person heart. It they give me at the eat. Una feel say, we don't run down. We don't spend with money per politics. We don't run down. We know they grab. Una they see we. Una yai they OP. Where not go be say not to government money, not to politics money, not to nothing. God go must give we. But una ready because some of we the day you especially did are they still are composed for you. The day they release back, you go say you if madam you not sack you if they're not right but you, I mean also me. Where are they ready? Where don't compose for you, JJ? Where don't sit down? Where don't analyze the deals and decide they always don't buy houses there? They see they always they do. The day they compose for you. All man so then that day the people they go say I get which for talk. Now make a pack for you. You wait. Now me you they go see. You they go see. For even make hypocrite self say, a dog how you do you not do huh? You feel say who they feel and we have to they feel pain. Some of we you forget the payment where be the cookie they scoff. You forget that day. Now be you money. You forget me yogurt say where you be they go take in our office. You they scoff. You forget the money where they give they smoke cigarettes and jamba. You forget you the all me you the eat that mean payment with the way be the eat you go turn halak.
I mean, I play this because I think I make the statement say we get social media, because this is not social media review, me people, them, they go say, why we play this? But this is social media review. This is not the thing when they call the quid pro quo, where people, and they say, because I don't do, you get for give me contract. Because most of these women, they support these parties, whether APC or SLPP, and they support them when they're done in the end, and they give them contracts and they give them stuff, because that's why they're working. They know they work only because they love the way they call, but because then they use their own money for invest, for let them get back returns. Okay, so this is what caused corruption in Sierra Leone, because now you're obligated for give to the person where be done did it for you. You know, you're obligated for give contract, not to the lowest bidder and the one way best for Sierra Leone, but the people that have been there for you during the campaign and the stuff. You know, so all this is fighting corruption. And this woman, Madam Fatma Bokari, it put her out there, and this is not the first time she has made audio and on the same kind of issue where they go on, because expectation, even though he say he not expect, but you go no say he expects something out of where they don't be in power. Now in the talk about. Now then they all they lead to corruption. Now then they all they lead because, you know, they go for do reforms, things that we go change for let them see and not they happen. Yes, we get forfeit corruption. And yes, together, like way President Bill say, corruption is a fight that we must fight, and together, corruption is a fight that we must win. Mr. Shilon, sir, I pass on to you.
Oh, well, I have very little to say in terms of putting the woman to say. It's unfortunate, but you can tell she's extremely upset, whatever the case may be. But as we say always, we get for try for put people of integrity in high places. You know, what is so interesting, I listened to the tape of Ernest Koroma. It appears as if every one of them president here can express, because I remember where President Kaba, because I used to know some of his in-laws, and he say once upon a time, the thing we really be the bother so much, na corruption, because he had even thrown in the towel. Then President Kaba, he said corruption, he was really fighting with the ministers them for control them, not to be corrupt. And he said that was one of the things that will be the really bother him. When President Nkrumah came to power, in a video, when the man interviewed him, I see that video in 2008, but I see where the man asked him, at the time where they say, he not going to tolerate corruption even with him. And I think maybe the time he was saying that, he meant it, maybe. The only reason why I didn't see any evidence of that was the fact that he be supposed, when he came in, there was supposed to have been declaration of assets, and which they didn't quite do. They did part of it, but they not enforce them, so it wasn't quite clear what people had, what people didn't have. But I remember that interview, when they asked President Nkrumah, even then, the man asked a simple question, he said, Mr. President, how many houses do you have? He will not answer that question. I remember that so clearly. He will not, the man say, well, can you tell me how many houses you have? Apparently, the reporter might have heard that he had multiple homes or houses, but he will not answer that question there. I remember that so clearly. So even if he believe, say, he can control corruption, then what people don't realize, unless you put rules, regulations, laws in place, corruption is an enticement. It go entice you for do what you probably otherwise may not want to do. So it's possible for President Nkrumah to say that at the time. He mean all of what he be say that he was not going to be corrupt. But when he see the enormity or the size of his power, the scale at which it can really do a lot of things, I think it begins to go the other way. The only thing would stop people from doing that, now good laws, even the laws themselves are not effective unless with the laws you get for do some undercover investigation. You get for have informants. I'm telling you, ACC is not going to be as successful. The CID is not going to be as successful unless they have undercover activities where people can pretend to be businessmen, where people can pretend to be foreigners.
But then I don't want to cut you word, sir.
Go ahead.
I remember the time of Sam Sumana where they go undercover, where they go pretend as business people, where the reporter pretended. But now you can't go to minister's office with phones. You can't go to their offices. From that time they kind of ban you, so you can't go on a phone because they're protecting themselves. If then they can do anything, then they protect themselves. Like I say, we need whistleblowers from within for expose them, because that camera, you know, can go inside the.
But trust me, if you train the CID, you elevate the efficiency, if you direct the sense of purpose and the sense of duty, the politicians are not that smart that they cannot be caught if they are corrupt. Because we see that they happen in this country, we see that they happen in other places. There are many ways, there are many skills. Where you can get information on these people. But it's not easy, is all I'm saying. You get for really, so you can pass all the laws, unless you're willing for do the extra thing here for expose people. If you say judges are taking bribes, you get for figure out the personality, particularly if it's a particular judge or judges come to mind, you don't get for understand the personality. When I get for know what's in a leg, what are the women, what are the liquor, what are the money. You see, appeal to the person in weakness. You know, so they can be caught. If you're corrupt, you can't be that smart. We get Will man now where he thinks saying that smart, but he doesn't use the power. So when you corrupt, you can't be able to hide all that corruption, because the corruption is a massive piece of equipment that you have to carry with the assistance of other people. Because any type of corruption, you can't do it by yourself. You get forget co-conspirators there. You know, you can forget people there way for connive with you, for carry it out. Because you by yourself alone, you're not going to be able to do it. So that's where they can be outsmarted. But you get, the CID get forget units assigned to that. And one of the best places, you know, this is, I wonder all this anti-corruption, well, we're not even talking about Israel. Israel is a country where if you're a politician, particularly if you hold office, you're not even allowed to have a foreign bank account. Not a foreign bank account. It's a violation of the law. So if we're serious, we'll go talk to the Israelis there and see how they manage that, how then they try to prevent, because that's just people in tendency. They go use government for enrich themselves. White man, black man, it don't matter. People are just we get a predisposition there. Or when we're exposed, we not get our self-control there. It just sounds like if you leave something expensive like you motokan at the back seat, you not lock your door, like a computer. Some Monday they pass, you don't want TIFO, but where you see that computer back there, you see an opportunity.
Access is easy, yes.
You see, this is the thing. So if we are going to entrust people with all them positions there and money, we'll get for, and the President Bill said, if I make a one for try for making unfashionable and risky, well, there is no risk if you can't be caught. There is no risk if you can be.
And another thing that he said, where even they say the last time, we just want the money back. We don't want to put nobody in a jail. We don't want to do this. We don't want to do that. But I asked Ben Kelfala, Commissioner, where become the very first time, I say, how can you try for make people they left for thief? Okay, let's say that you put money in there or you're supposed to do this. The punishment not big enough for discourage you for go again, because you go again, go do again. They will just slap you on and say, oh, okay, just can't give me, because if I thief 1 million, they go say I can pay 500,000. So what is the use of what is the use of that punishment? Because there's no punishment, there's nothing that I'm gonna stop me from not doing it again. Oh, I could just go give
If I'm in
500,000.
the position, yeah.
You know, and that is the question. And also you talk about the declaration of assets, okay? But then they do it in private. It should be in the open, so everybody know what you go with inside. Yep. Because what you go with inside, and also then they watch you, then compare your salary, then compare, okay, how much money potential for make. If you get business, how you business, they go on waiting money, they come in and all that kinds of things. They know for waiting and call onto the property where you don't acquire during that time. You see, all them things that they're not there in place, so people continue. That's why we all for embrace waiting President Bio they do, as long as he do on the right way, we for embrace who that's then find guilty of any kind of thing, where they don't go to the courts because now the recommendations don't come, then therefore challenge that, then go to courts, let the process work, let it work right, and then come back and say, okay, this is it, let the people then pay the price. Because we get for stop that, we get for set the standard, and the bar has been raised up so high, therefore we get for waiting and call. But we don't talk about today.
If I can say something very quick.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I don't have problem with the president in lawyer and in lawyers them. Well, this just show you without casting any aspersion on the president. When I say president, I talk about President Nkrumah. I think he had 7 lawyers. And Sierra Leone lawyers, they are not cheap. Mm-hmm. These guys come, by WIO's standard in Sierra Leone, the lawyers in Sierra Leone are making far more money than big-time lawyers in Nigeria for such a poor country. So if you can afford 7 of those guys, I see some receipts that was posted not too long ago, even in the Samsumana case, where one of President Nkrumah's lawyers, I think they get about $170,000 attorney lawyer's fee. Another one of the lawyer get $150,000.
Whoa.
Oh yeah, a lawyer's fee. All this coming from the government. Now, well, God bless them, but Sierra Leone, being the country it is, with the average income of about maybe $1,000 or $500 a year, somebody is making just from government coffers, 170, 150,000. These are all things that we get for consider. Well, I mean, if it's coming from the president in pocket, that's fine, the ex-president. But if you get the government for the payment kind of money, then I'm not so sure if it is fair when in fact it was questionable that he had the authority to have fired the vice president. It's a total waste of money, And then the other thing too, we'll need to understand, in this white paper, this representation, the government of Sierra Leone, even under President Bio, they don't have the Attorney General's office and the Anti-Corruption Office now get enough trained lawyers for the government for prosecuting cases than they. So what do they do? Then they hire private law firms then for prosecuting case for the government. And these lawyers, I hear Mr. Andy Macaulay yesterday say they are paid 50 million leones a month.
Wow.
Yeah, these private lawyers who are hired by the government to prosecute these cases. I'm sure I'm not misquoting Mr. Adi Macaulay. He said 50 million, a minimum of that a month for each one of them.
5,000.
But so there's a lot of waste going on. They really need to work on the system. And if they want to try to prevent corruption once and for all, there are some little nitty-gritty things they really get for work on for make sure, say, everything work. It's like when you design a machine, you can put all the big parts then together, but there is a little small thing like oil and that machine there, or a little nut and bolt here you have to put together for the machine for work. So if they want for government for work, if they want corruption for stop, there is no way you will stop corruption if people are not set up, if people are not informed on, if try for do undercover sting operation,
Yeah.
You
Well,
can.
the ACC getting Scorpion Squad, he calls them, where they do the FF thing and they, but you need more manpower because if they say.
And I don't know why the government not to give ACC. They should give them a vast amount of appropriation, because the last time we talked to the anti-corruption commissioner, he was claiming that he asked for this, then give and that. So according to him, they're not give even adequate amount of money for let carry on in job. Well, that's a recipe for failure. If the man saying want 10 investigators, why would they say then give? Why would they give him money for 6? Then when I want a result where 10 investigators and go bring in, it makes no sense. They should give him everything, and they should even give him the option of what I would call supplemental budget. So if he say I want $10 million, when I get $10 million, then for even say we even get $3 million aside just in case that 10. Then they are up to a good start. Onto a good start. But if they wait and they don't wait, the man say 10 million when I get 6, when I get 5, I don't even know the man as well don't give him anything. We're going to be wasting time.
Yeah. Well, we don't come to the end today. We don't really, we waiting a call. Sorry, we're not going to take the caller then today again because we don't pass the 2-hour mark, and we try for day at least 2 hour. We don't go 2 hour, almost 30 minutes. So that's enough for today. We will continue back. We will come. We will bring people and come because I want to bring people on both sides of the aisle, the APC and the SLPP. Let us sit down. Let we begin broke the white paper with them being done because boku in the paper big, the book big, and now the opposition APC they ask say let them bring the commission's inquiry, the original one, not waiting. They want pull come out inside there for where they call. Let them bring all thing come for let them sit down, let them talk, and then in a big book, big book. It's gonna be a big folder. So we're going to bring experts and come, or they try for bring people and come from the opposite side. No, we can't talk about this because we get for fight corruption though. Because in all fairness, in all waiting a call, we all know say Salone, all kind of thing corrupt. Every institution corrupt. Every side where you go corruption. Me and you self they pay bribe in a corruption. Me and you they go get shortcut for do something where we know say for doing the right way in a corruption. That Pekin not get good medical hospital there, cannot hospital there. If you by death chamber, nothing not there inside there, so it dirty and make because when you sick, you give all done in a corruption. Because the money where them put for there, somebody they intersect and they share among themselves, then put no more small can they will not they make no difference. All them thing that they will school then they will pick in and so the classroom them broke what will be they go school where they go na some side where clean and netty we go give you good waiting and call for land. The teacher then they pay them well, the teacher themselves they look good. Policeman self with them they wear uniform they look good. Now all them thing and they because we not pay the police them better, you not give them increase, but yet they increase the parliamentarian they pay, they increase the police. They increase the teacher, they pay the doctor, they better. They all go take bribe, the corruption down, the corruption will get for fat time. Like I said, now a fight with a fight and a fight we must win. But they don't start from the big one them, take and down to the small one them. So let we all try for do the right thing because corruption, what they talk about Salone, they talk about the good old Salone. Some people not sabi that Salone day. So waiting and get them content with a little bit dirty Salone what we get right now. Where Salone, baby Salone, there was middle class people that live like they overseas. People that live better. Some people they live better than where some people they live right now overseas. That was the Salone, and that's the Salone where they begin of. Where we remember, in the 80s, Ghana was like for toothpaste or soap, you can sleep with a woman. That's how bad it been be. They're not be able to afford things there. But look at Ghana today. Gambia where they neighbor we now granates they get. But look how they develop because they put her in place, they put things in place. What for fix it? We not they say corruption, or we not they say they know they come, but they walk towards some. So we said for join the president, we said for join this administration and any other president where they come afterwards for say, then we fight corruption because we want better for we said we want better for picking them, we want better for grand picking them. We want for we grand picking them able go to the country where we grow. The dirty will be the play pan, the eats the all they eat the side. We want care with people and go let we go there. The people and they way want go, we get thing for go give back to Sierra Leone because of the corruption. You go there for go start business, they go frustrate you, they corrupt you. Every side, mass, everybody in trade. They wait for you, but they don't exhaust. You know, one for every day. You know, now make we not get better life because why been they class 7? I can tell when I get in an old school. 1975, we go Bumbuna Waterfalls, class 7 sentence. Now they go Catholic school, then we go Bumbuna Waterfall, then tell we all this wonderful 30 day Bumbuna, they say go supply one whole Salone and neighbor county 30 day we not able to get because corruption after corruption after corruption. So do you have me people then? Una let we all together, let we wait, let we see. Until they say the paper don't come out now, then they challenge the paper. Now the right thing that they for do, then challenge the paper, go to the court, where the court order them found one thing where the court say, we pray the courts go work right, let them get for pay, they get for all them. No matter who that you be, no one is above the law. Unity, freedom, and justice for all. That's so Salone Court of Arms say. So nobody not pass the law, nobody not there against the above the law. And if great President Joseph come on a power, instead if they so say what they call them go ask how you be account for people money and minister them and officials them. So dear, till next week, go beyond beautiful, go beyond you. Say, you know, go have a wonderful and productive week. Go make a difference. Go give hope to somebody. Go light somebody in the world. Let we love one another. Let's stop fighting for one another. Like I say, look at the spirit of 1961. I see her in that video where young people, they not ask if not APC or ZPP, then jump out there, they help. That was country first, that was human first. Then go out there, they help for try for save this man in life. You know, and we see, say, no emergency thing put in place. But till next week, I love you all. Go shine, you shine. If the shine they permit today, the sun they permit, not jealous me because they shine today. Oh, go walk on yourself tomorrow. The sun go shine by you, the cloud make by me. Then hey, but yeah, my people, my eyes are a little bit big because I put eyelashes. So I'm not getting more today. I love you all. Remember, God is love. Fedima till next week. I'm out. Salute, Mr. Shilon, sir.
Yeah. Good night, everybody. Always a pleasure to be on the show, so I hope I enjoy it. Thank you.
Thank you.